5:01. Since 5:01, the Board of Education has been in closed session to discuss the following. Discussion of minutes lawfully closed under the Open Meetings Act, whether for purposes of school board approval of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by the Act. The appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees or legal counsel, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee or legal counsel to determine its validity. Collective negotiating matters between the school board and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, and litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the school board has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the school board finds an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting. I will entertain a motion to come out of closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Please call the roll, Mrs. Patton.
Macmillan,
Aye.
Gerke,
Aye.
Blastic,
Aye.
Kelly Black,
Aye.
Walensky,
Aye.
Kush,
Aye.
Kuzminski.
Aye.
The motion passes. We are in open session. Good evening and welcome. Good evening and welcome to the Monday, August 18th Board of Education meeting. Our mission is to empower students to develop a learner's mindset, demonstrate adaptability, communicate effectively, think critically, and become global citizens. Please call the roll, Mrs. Patton.
Board members present: Charles Kush, Christine Gerke, Melissa Kelly Black, Joe Kuzminski, Amanda Macmillan, Holly Blastic, and Mark Walensky.
Please join the board in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Item 4, recognition. Item 4.01, good news.
Okay, there is good news tonight. Naperville Central senior and Illinois Global Scholar capstone student Alice Porphyropoulos authored House Bill 2517, now Illinois law, as part of her capstone research on racial disparities in maternal health and mortality among Black and Hispanic women. Sponsored in the Illinois House by Representative Janet Yang Rohr, the law requires all Illinois healthcare professionals to complete at least 1 hour of professional development on maternal mortality, covering CDC statistics, risk factors for marginalized groups, and proven programs to reduce maternal deaths and complications. Her achievements were recognized by Illinois Speaker of the House, Chris Welch, in his newsletter. This is the 7th Illinois law created by capstone students from Naperville Central. Congratulations, Alice. We had the honor of welcoming new educators to our district earlier this month. We joined our new teachers for a breakfast at Mesa and Sabika, where they met with their administrators and learned about our district and the year ahead. So we welcome our new administrators and look forward to a great year with them. Yes, let's welcome them. The school year, 25-26 school year, is officially underway. We're excited to start a brand new year, and as we could feel the joy and energy inside the classrooms as teachers, students, and staff reunited for another year of learning and fun. So welcome back, everyone. Okay, and a new benefit available to employees and spouses and dependents. Our new health clinic is now open. Providers are in the office and already seeing patients. Employees and their eligible family members now have access to direct primary care and mental health services through our new Priority Care Clinic through Marathon Health. This benefit is available to employees, spouses, and dependents who are covered under the district's health plan. We're proud to offer expanded care options to support the health and well-being of our team. So that's our good news for tonight.
Okay.
Recognition.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll take it from here. We'll do
I thought you
a
were gonna do
recognition.
this.
I'm going to invite coaches Lindsay Greer and Christina Hagenbaumer to join me at the podium, please. Okay, we have 3 athletes who placed in the Special Olympics over the summer that we would like to recognize this evening. So I will read their names, ask them to come up with the coaches and I for shake hands, and then we'll get a picture of you up in the front if we can. So we can get the 203 logo on the front screen. That would be great. And then let either or both of our coaches any comments about the season and the athletes. Okay, let's begin with Special Olympics 50-meter swim gold medalist Thomas Plackett. Okay, Special Olympics 1,500-meter run, 4th place, Jack Skinley. And Special Olympics softball throws 6th place, Anna Pahovny. As our athletes get set up, Mrs. Exagas will take a couple pictures here. In the meantime, if either our coaches have anything to say about our athletes, the event, or what they competed in.
So these athletes had competed at the state meet for Special Olympics. So all these are state medals. And Thomas actually competed with WDSRA for this great achievement. So we're very proud of everyone.
Definitely very proud of all of you and all of the athletes who competed. Let's get the coaches are on their way up there, Mrs. Exagas. And once Mrs. Exagas is done with her picture for the district, if there are any family, friends, or people who came with who'd like to come a little bit closer for a better picture, you are welcome to step up in here. I know this has been a long time coming in terms of this recognition. I think we competed toward the end of June, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's when you emailed me probably, right? Yep, okay.
And we are starting unified bags for Special Olympics, so they'll be able to team up with one of their Jenna peers this fall. So it's a good sport for them. So
That's awesome. Great. And looking forward to information on a pack to place later this winter for basketball. So that's our recognition for this evening. Congratulations to our athletes and families.
That was awesome. Okay. We reached the point in our agenda for public comment. The Board of Education welcomes comments from the public at its meetings. Citizens who wish to address the Board of Education should identify themselves by name. Comments by individuals shall be limited to 3 minutes. If the individual is representing multiple individuals or group, they shall be allowed to speak for 5 minutes. The board respectfully requests that speakers refrain from commenting about specific individuals. As I call an individual for public comment, I will also designate the next speaker so that they have appropriate time to prepare. In accordance with board policy, issues raised in public comment will be taken under advisement by the Board of Education, but will not be discussed this evening. Issues raised during public participation may be added to future agendas or addressed by administrative staff. Because the questions raised in public comment address district operational matters, the superintendent is the board's designee to coordinate response to public comment and will apprise the board accordingly. Board Policy 2.142 encourages understanding and interaction necessary for responsible citizenship. The Board of Education seeks to create a learning environment in which, among other things, all families, students, teachers, administrators, and staff are welcomed, valued, and respected. As outlined in Board of Education Policy 2.230, individuals addressing the board should conduct themselves with respect and civility towards others. Individuals are free to express their criticism regarding decisions or policies, but the Board of Education expects that they refrain from personal attacks on our superintendent, Board of Education members, and administrative staff. At this point. My first one? Yep. Okay. I would like to invite Susan Farnan. Susan is speaking on behalf of a group. And the next speaker will be Tracy Pasarski. Oh, there's two people. Sorry, the first speaker is two people, Susan Farnan and Alicia Horn. Apologies. Good evening and welcome.
My name is Susan Farnan. I'm a District 203 taxpayer, mother of two sons, wife of a high school science teacher and coach. Is there audio now? Great. Hi. Thanks so much.
Starting all over again.
All right. Hi, I'm Susan Farnan. I'm a District 203 taxpayer, mother of two sons, wife of a high school science teacher and coach, and a 33-year veteran middle school special education teacher in a neighboring district. I would first like to note the Board of Education's strategic choice to hold tonight's meeting in such a small venue, despite knowing it would be well attended, limiting both community and staff participation, not allowing your teachers and community members to enter the building during a lightning and thunderstorm, made it clear that safety and respect for us are clearly not your priorities. I come tonight deeply concerned after reading the misleading messaging all summer from Mr. Bridges and Board of Ed President Charles Cush, as well as what appears to be a lack of transparency in how bargaining updates are shared with Board of Education members. Your letters and videos to the community share that you surveyed staff. I look forward to you publishing the results of that survey in a timely manner. Let's be clear. District 203 is not broke. Our district is a Tier 4 district funded at 123% of adequacy, which means, to those who don't know what that is, that students, we have funding at 123% of what is needed to adequately educate a student. Yet, your starting salary is now lower than your neighboring District 204 and Plainfield 202, with 204 only being at 84% adequacy and Plainfield at 78% of adequacy. So please stop portraying financial hardship or framing teachers as pushing tax hikes for selfish gain. I will share facts, as will Alicia Horn, many comparing Mr. Bridges' contract, which is public domain, to those of District 203 teachers. In the last 4 years, District 203 administrators have received an average total of 19% increases in raises. 203 teachers have received an increase of 9.58% average in raises. That's an almost 10% disparity. CPI was over 19%. That is greatly concerning, that you would have that large of a difference between administration and teachers with raises. Mr. Bridges' TRS contribution is fully paid for by the board. Teachers pay 9% of their salary towards their TRS, and the district pays 0.5% of their salary, of teachers' salary, towards their TRS. Mrs. Horn.
I'm Alicia Horn. My oldest son graduated from Central High School. I have a son that is a junior there now. I have been teaching language arts and social studies for 26 years in neighboring district. I'm a teacher, or I like the teachers of 203 and passionate about my career that I have chosen. None of us got into this profession because we wanted to get rich, but we do expect to be able to be supported. We feel support from our communities and our families. We feel support and value from the Board of Education through contracts. Teachers feel value when their contracts are fair. When I'm looking at the disparities between the two contracts, when we look at disability, if the superintendent becomes unable to perform their duties due to illness, accident, or disability, once all sick leave days are done or vacation days have been used, the board will continue full salary for 90 days. After that, long-term disability benefits apply, whereas teachers in District 203, they receive 15 sick days annually. For a new child, it was recently agreed that they may use up to 10 to 12 weeks of pay leave only if they have enough accrued days, and once exhausted, leave is unpaid. FMLA allows 12 weeks of leave, but without guaranteed pay. Given these established limits for teachers, it is difficult to understand how the superintendent could be granted 90 additional paid sick days, costing taxpayers approximately $80,000 if used. This raises serious concerns about equity. The inconsistency between what is provided to teachers and what has been extended to the superintendent is troubling. It hurts my heart.
Time.
Our next speaker is Tracy Pisarski. Tracy will be followed by Lauren Reyes Yu. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Pisarski. This is the start of my 32nd year in education, 30 of which I have proudly spent here at Naperville 203. All of those years have been at Kennedy Junior High. As of this year, I am the most tenured teacher at Kennedy. I'm not the oldest, but I am the most tenured. There is a difference. While I don't live in Naperville, I have grown deep roots here. Over the years, I have taught generations of families to the point where I've lost track of how many children from the same households I've had the privilege of teaching. I've watched teachers, principals, superintendents, and curriculum initiatives come and go. I've seen the pendulum swing back and forth and back again countless times. Through it all, I have stayed. I've remained committed to this district, to this school, and most importantly, to the students and families that we serve. That is why the board's most recent salary proposal is so disheartening. The flat offer of $2,750 plus the longevity payment of $1,200 for the first year of our new contract equates to 2.9% raise for me personally, not 4.9% as we were told today. As a math intervention teacher, I know numbers, and I also struggle to understand how this fits into the quote 10% compounded raise over the first 2 years that the board has shared publicly. What I do know is this. This is how you're choosing to compensate some of your most dedicated, experienced teachers. Teachers who have invested decades of their lives to this community. Teachers who have stayed when others have left. Naperville 203 is better than this, and I believe you can and should do better. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Lauren Reyes Yu. Lauren will be followed by Leslie Clark.
Hi, my name is Lauren Reyes Yu, and I'd like to speak as a community member, specifically as a former student and now a parent in the district. Please listen to these teachers. They wouldn't be ready to strike if they didn't have major concerns with the contract currently offered to them. Stop with the misleading numbers. Stop with the threats. What is best for teachers is best for our students. I know for a fact that I'm not the only community member who feels this way. We moved here for the schools. This entire community has been built around the school system. I'll say it again, what is best for our teachers is best for our students. I completely trust these teachers to know what is reasonable and what they deserve. You should too. Give them a fair contract. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Leslie Clark. Leslie will be followed by Janelle Kryling. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you. I'm Leslie Clark, and I'm in front of you tonight as a parent and a former employee of 203. In 2016, after a total of 5 years in this district with a small break for my children, I was informed that my contract would not be renewed. My Danielson evaluations were recorded as proficient and excellent, and I was informed that they didn't have to tell me why they weren't renewing the contract because that's the way tenure worked. But I knew. I was the Mockingjay. I was willing to stand up for the teachers and the students in my building being pushed so far past reasonable expectations and begging to be heard. But instead of listening to feedback, it was dismissed, and there was a clear message that any of this type of feedback would be punished. Now, as a parent of 4 children in District 203 and a former employee, I know exactly how those teachers feel. Last spring, I saw the emails come to parents about how great this new innovative school experience was going to be, and read that even teachers on the committee loved it. But I also knew that the teachers on the committee were likely handpicked to be agreeable, or just ignored entirely. The communication from this administration has been incomplete at best and divisive at worst. Even the community feedback meetings regarding the Innovative School Day were designed to only allow feedback that was in support of the proposal. Questions such as, when we do this, how can we make it the most successful? Really? When do the teachers get to say they don't want to do this? When do the parents get to say that we have so many more questions? Instead of just listening to honest feedback, dissenting voices were silenced or manipulated. As a parent, I can say that the communication from the district has not been transparent. The message coming home is that the district simply cannot afford the salary proposals from the union. It's not clear from this communication that the innovative school experience is even part of the negotiation, and the teachers are trying to tell you what they need to make it feasible to go through another new initiative. These constant changes to be the best and cutting edge are dropped on teachers with last-minute training, unclear expectations, and no time to do the additional work that is required to do them well. The 203 educators have been the backbone of this district and this community. They've been the highly qualified professionals creating this nationally ranked district that brought my family here and brings people from all over the country, which allows the administration to collect taxes high enough to fill other budget categories quite well, including some of the top administrator jobs. If the voices of the educators were important to you, you would rearrange the budgets that you created in order to properly compensate teachers for their worth. But the least you can do is listen. Look at those staff morale surveys and do some critical thinking. As those plummeting results continue to be ignored, you will lose some of the best educators to surrounding districts, and my kids will lose access to some of the most qualified teachers in the country. Can we please work together to show our students that education is important? Can we agree to properly fund the most critical aspect of this entire district? The teachers deserve to be heard.
Our next speaker will be Janelle Kryling. Janelle will be followed by Colleen Olenek.
My name is Janelle Kryling, and I'm a product of District 203 from the age of kindergarten at Naper School to a proud graduate from Naperville Central. I student taught at Elmwood Elementary School in the fall of '92 and was hired to teach at Elmwood the following school year. This is my 33rd year of teaching at Elmwood in District 203. I love this district for the people. The families, students, and teachers I've worked with throughout my career are the high point of each day. Students and parents from previous years still reach out to me to give me updates on their newest accomplishments, and I live for those moments. This is what makes me so frustrated by the current situation between NUEA and the administration regarding our current negotiations. Over the past 33 years, teaching has changed dramatically. The work has continued to increase while the pay has not. At one time, 203 was a leading district in the area regarding pay and benefits. To say that we are among the other more highly paid districts surrounding us does not accurately reflect where we actually fall, at the bottom. A recent staff morale survey offered to educators made our feelings explicitly clear regarding our feelings of value in this district. But what has been done to correct that? Changing our elementary reading curriculum at a cost of $3.2 million, continuing to add meetings to our weekly responsibilities, and threatening to change our school day without an increase in pay does not make morale improve. Because of spacing issues in our district and a refusal from administration to appropriately plan for the number of students in each classroom, I've been forced to move my entire classroom over 5 times in the past 6 years due to the changing populations in our building. 3 of these decisions were made within the first 2 weeks of August, meaning that I would have 0 compensation for the multiple days of work necessary to move my classroom. A decision was also made the week after school started, forcing me to move twice within the first 2 months of school being in session. And to repeat, no compensation is offered to teachers putting in time over the weekends so that students are not impacted by administrative choices. As a result of these moves, hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of materials were thrown out, all of which had been purchased by me. When being moved into a too small space, there was nothing else I could do to save those items. I hope you aren't surprised to hear how much teachers in this world-class district spend on their classrooms every single year. We spend our money on items to benefit our rooms for students, but we also purchase items for our students who need help. We buy snacks, we buy winter clothing, we bring in our own children's outgrown Halloween costumes, winter boots, and holiday outfits to help our families in need because we care so much about them. Please stop implying that the teachers of this district are being greedy by asking for a fair wage. It's time to...
Time.
Our next speaker is Colleen Olenek. Colleen will be followed by Jennifer Estrada. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. My name is Colleen Olenek, and this is my 12th year teaching in District 203 and my 11th year working as a bilingual reading specialist at Elmwood Elementary. In that time, I have gotten married, had 3 children. When my husband and I were looking to buy a house, we knew we wanted to prioritize our children going to District 203 schools because of everything they have to offer. Our 3 children attend Riverwoods Elementary and are in the dual language program, which was very important to me. They also participate in art club, band, Redbird Singers. Their teachers are hardworking, always going above and beyond to make sure my kids are learning to speak, read, write, listen in 2 languages. They're assessing twice as much. They're doing a lot of extra things in dual language for no extra compensation to their monolingual peers. They also are making sure my children feel safe taking risks and feel like they're part of the Riverwoods community. Over the past several years, our taxes have increased significantly, and I'm happy to pay them and have our home increase in value. I know that that value increase is mostly because of the schools. The reason our school district performs in the top 1% of the country is because of the teachers and staff. I want all teachers and staff members to be fairly compensated for the work that they do that make our district so exceptional. As a parent, I would like the district to prioritize teacher salaries over technology. Educational technology is harming our students' attention spans and social skills. 2 years ago, the district bought all new iPads for the kindergarten and first graders when the old iPads were working fine, and the new iPads don't even have headphone jacks that we need to make them accessible in K-1. So then we had to buy covers that had the headphone jacks, which was an extra expense. As a taxpayer, I'm not worried about the district saving me money. I did not ask for an abatement when we got one. I want my money to go towards supporting teachers and keeping our schools running well and safely. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jennifer Estrada. Jennifer will be followed by Julia Walsh.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Estrada. I am a District 203 parent and community member. I am the mother to 4 fearfully and wonderfully made children who will be or are currently attending District 203 schools. I come before you tonight not just as a community member, but as a mother, one who deeply cares about the safety, dignity, and fairness afforded to every girl in our school district. Our daughters deserve to feel safe in their bathrooms. They deserve to compete in sports without fear of injury or physical disadvantage. They deserve policies that honor the intent of Title IX to ensure equal opportunity and protection for girls. When those protections are compromised, our girls are left vulnerable in spaces that should be theirs to trust. Across the country, districts and universities are facing lawsuits for failing to uphold Title IX. Concordia University, Irvine, the University of Oregon, and even state agencies in California have been sued for eliminating women's teams, unequal treatment, and allowing males to compete in girls' sports. These cases are not just about athletics, they're about safety, dignity, and legal accountability. Parents here are watching closely, and we expect this board to be fiscally responsible. With ongoing budget challenges and the current negotiations with the teachers union who deserve what to be paid fairly, our district cannot afford the financial and reputational cost of a preventable legal battle in the name of partisan politics. If we avoid costly federal lawsuits, we preserve more resources to pay our teachers fairly and invest in the classroom where those dollars belong. As parents, we cannot stay silent. We cannot be canceled. We cannot look the other way when our daughters tell us they feel unsafe or unseen. We will continue to show up, to speak out, to file reports, and demand accountability no matter what else is going on in this boardroom, because our children are worth it. We cannot be canceled. We've seen this board act swiftly when internal matters arise. We ask you to bring that same urgency to this issue. Let's find a solution that respects everyone's dignity while protecting the integrity of girls' sports and private spaces. This is not about exclusion. It's about fairness, safety, and honoring the promises made under Title IX. Please make this a priority. Our girls are watching. Our parents are watching.
Our next speaker will be Julia Walsh. Julia will be followed by Lynn Hanley. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. My name is Julie Walsh. I'm a resident of District 203, an alum of the district, and a very proud teacher at Madison Junior High. Go Warhawks. I am not here this evening to go over numbers. I did not stand out in the thunder and lightning to talk to you about CPI percentages or allotted classroom minutes. Instead, I want to talk about one thing and one thing only: respect. Don't worry, I won't break out into song, that might be the mood booster that many of us need as we attempt to dry off. I am here to speak about the importance of respect in our schools. Respect for educators, students, and families. Right now, the tone and actions coming from above send a message of disrespect to these very people, those who have shoes on the ground every day in our schools. The message undermines trust and weakens the positive culture we are all working so hard to build every single day. Respect means listening to the voices of those who show up each day for our students. It means recognizing that the expertise of educators is not a liability to be managed, but an asset to be valued. When our voices are dismissed, when decisions are made without authentic collaboration, and when negotiations become more about control than compromise, the message is clear: respect is missing. Respect also means modeling the very values we try to instill in our students: honesty, empathy, and fairness. If we expect our students to treat one another with dignity, then district leadership must demonstrate that same dignity in how they treat their staff. Right now, the words, actions, and most recently videos from above do not align with those values. Finally, respect is not a line item. It isn't about percentages on a spreadsheet. It's about culture, trust, and relationships. If the district wants a community where students thrive and families feel supported, it starts with respecting the educators who make that possible. So tonight, I'm not asking you to crunch numbers. I'm not asking you to look at the CPI. I am asking you to remember that respect is not negotiable. When our teachers feel respected, our students feel respected. We may debate formulas or classroom minutes or supervision schedules, but there should be no debate about this. Our students deserve to learn in a community built on dignity, trust, and respect. If we truly want them to thrive, then we, leaders, educators, board members, families alike, must lead by example. Let's choose respect, not rhetoric. Let's model the culture we want for our students. Let's show them through our actions what it looks like to value people over percentages. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Lynn Hanley. Lynn will be followed by Amelia Poehler. Good evening.
Hi, my name is Lynn Hanley. I'm a proud graduate of Naperville Central High School, and I've been a proud member of the Naperville Central Social Studies Department for the last 20 years. I'm also an NUEA member. Since our last rather contentious contract about 4 years ago, the district has implemented lots of new initiatives, things like MTSS, SOAR and WIN at the high school level, blended learning, reassessment policies, new grading practices, new curriculum maps, and all of those things add to the workload of teachers. Personally, I work about 60 hours a week on average. I give up time with my own family to meet the demands that this job now requires. Don't get me wrong, our kids are worth it. They are worth every bit of our effort. But we deserve to be paid for the work that we are putting in to educate them. If you believe that all of these initiatives are important and that they are improving learning outcomes for our kids, we deserve to be paid for the time that it takes to implement them. And if you're thinking of rescheduling the school day, that is going to take long hours. It is going to require hard work from us. It is going to require us to unlearn and relearn everything we have done, to take every lesson plan and recreate it to fit it into a new framework. If that's important to you and you need our labor to do it, pay us to do it. And if you can't pay us to do it, you might consider taking the block schedule off the table and allowing us to continue delivering the excellent education that they are giving us blue ribbons for. You want the same things for the kids of this community that we want. A world-class education. They deserve everything that we can offer them, but so do we. If we are delivering the excellent education that this district provides, we deserve to be fairly compensated for our efforts. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Amelia Poehler.
Hi, my name is Amelia Polheber.
Oh, Paul Huber. I'm sorry. I'm not. Sorry. And say Amelia will be followed by Casey McQuaid. Sorry, Amelia.
No
Welcome.
worries. Thanks. I'm the mother of 3 children currently in the district. I have one in elementary, one in middle school, and one in high school, so we're having all of the experiences. I want to be absolutely clear when I say this district is phenomenal because of our educators. We left Naperville and returned in August of 2020, right in the middle of COVID. I remember during that time hearing about complaints with online learning, complaints about how our tax dollars were being spent. And I want to say that leaving Naperville gave my family some amazing perspective I'd like to share. We moved from a state that had a similar cost of living, similar tax dollars, but the delivery of education was very different. Our school experience during COVID consisted of attendance, a list of assignments, and then you were on your own. We felt so much gratitude for the Naperville teachers navigating the technology, ways to engage students, and just showing up every day. We've been back in Naperville 5 years, and each year I am more impressed. These educators have a genuine concern for our students' well-being. We've had social workers and counselors identify significant challenges that could have easily been missed. We've had teachers make connections to resources and supports that have helped my children thrive. They call after hours, they check in and send emails with updates. And some people might say that's part of the job, but I'm here to tell you that doesn't happen everywhere. Staff offering to play Uno with your kid at lunch so that they don't have to eat alone, that doesn't happen everywhere. We left Naperville for a good job opportunity, and we came right back for the education. Those are my experiences as a parent, and I also just want to briefly share some parallels that I see between educators and my experience as a healthcare worker. I've been a nurse practitioner for 16 years. I've worked in a variety of health systems. Sometimes in helping professions, we become very focused on the individuals that we are helping. Rightly so. This is the job, and it's exactly what we all sign up to do. However, sometimes I see these systems prioritize the needs of a client, a patient, student, over the needs of the people providing the services. It's a delicate balance, but we are all familiar with the saying, you cannot pour from an empty cup. As we think about the excellent student initiatives, let's also consider the dedicated individuals responsible for bringing those initiatives to life. How can we support those people? How can we assure that they feel valued? I want to know, is the barrier a policy as opposed to funding? Are there funds that could be reallocated if policy were to be changed? As a community, it is our job to listen and to find a solution. We need to show up for our educators the way they show up for our kids.
Our next speaker will be Casey McQuaid. Casey will be followed by Sig Lizowski. Good evening.
Good evening. I grew up in the District 200 school system. I went to Highlands Elementary, where I had Mrs. Unch, who was a sweet woman and helped assuage my fears of fire drills. I then went to Washington Junior High, where I had Mrs. Patsy Johnson, who had a most amazing Southern accent. And I actually reached out to her on Facebook a few weeks ago to get some advice on teaching. I went to Naperville North, where I had many amazing teachers, including Mr. Dan Iverson, who showed me the impact that we can have as educators inside and outside the classroom. I was lucky enough to be one of his athletes on the girls' cross country and track team. After my amazing experience in 203, I decided to become an educator myself, and I was very fortunate enough to do my student teaching with Mr. Brady, at Naperville Central. I know how hard these teachers work, okay? So let me pull up my notes real quick. This is a little bit off the cuff. Not only did I come out of school with an amazing education, I came out feeling fulfilled and prepared to take on the academic and other challenges thanks to my amazing teachers. Also, thanks to these teachers, I decided to become one myself. As an educator and a student who's so positively impacted by 203 teachers, it's so discouraging to see how hard they have to fight to get the compensation that they deserve. If we aren't providing these teachers with the compensation that they deserve, we risk losing the people who help Naperville students develop a learner's mindset, demonstrate adaptability, communicate effectively, think critically, and become global citizens. We risk losing people who are passionate and talented and who are inspiring the future Mrs. Unches, the future Mrs. Johnson, the future Iversons, the future Bradys. We risk losing generations of talented teachers. And I would hate to see that happen. As someone who has been so positively impacted by District 203, by our educators, I would love for this to continue for future generations. These teachers need and deserve this compensation. Please pay our teachers fairly. Thank you.
Howdy.
Hi.
I'm Sig Lasowski, a retired guidance counselor from Naperville Central High School. I worked there for 19 years. It's been 18 years since I retired. Once a month, the retirees from 203 meet for breakfast and talk about the students that we loved, the comrades that we worked with and miss. And the only thing that we talk about negatively is the disrespect the district has shown to all of us retirees, and now from what I hear, all these people. You know, 25 years ago, block scheduling was stopped. It was thought totally inappropriate for school systems. Now we're back to block scheduling. I tell you, these people are good people, but they need respect.
Our next speaker is Nicole Folsom. So Nicole, if you're sorry, I didn't get to tell you you are coming up next. And Nicole will be followed by Kathy Mullen. Hi, Nicole. Good
My
evening.
name is Nicole Folsom. I've been a school psychologist in the district for 12 years, and I'm a Naperville taxpayer and parent. I'm wearing a shirt today that says, "Non-compliance is a life skill." This message has been touted by student services, and it aligns with our humanistic values. It means that we want kids to be able to say no, to advocate for themselves, to avoid being taken advantage of. These are essential skills for physical safety and mental well-being, especially for vulnerable populations. As educators, we are at risk of being taken advantage of. Education is a female-dominated profession, and educators often share traits like empathy, patience, and a strong desire to help. We're told that we should be cooperative, and because we're doing it for the kids, we should set aside our own needs. Just because people go into education as a passion rather than because it's a lucrative career, doesn't make it okay to pay us less than we're worth. Exceptional results should be compensated with exceptional pay. Shame on anyone who takes advantage of our passion for our jobs and our dedication to kids. Working through our lunches, having unmanageable workloads, the district thinking that we could implement the multitude of changes proposed with the innovative school experience without thoughtful planning. These are not badges of honor or signs of a strong work ethic. These are signs that we are being taken advantage of. So we must practice what we preach and advocate for ourselves. Asking for equitable pay and fair working conditions does not make us selfish or greedy. It does not negate our desire to do what's best for kids. It simply means that we know our self-worth and we know what we deserve. While your public communications try to vilify us, we know that non-compliance is a life skill. We can't help others if we don't value ourselves. When you keep pushing us to do more without providing us with fair compensation, you're actually just pushing us out of the district and out of education. This is why we lose high-quality educators and have unfilled positions. I've seen a lesson in kindergarten about wants versus needs. Bringing in expensive speakers to deliver PD, one-to-one iPads for kindergartners. These are wants. Paying educators an equitable wage that allows us to support our families and values our time and work, that is a need. The district can't provide a high-quality education without high-quality educators. This is a non-negotiable. The district claims they can't afford to pay educators the proposed salary without eliminating essential jobs. But you don't spend money on wants if you can't afford needs. If the district's claim is true, then the solution is not, I guess we can't pay the educators a fair and equitable wage. The solution is to reduce spending on the wants. The district has a surplus of money. Your current priorities just say that you care more about being innovative than you care about the educators. So please show educators that you care about
time.
Our next speaker is Kathy Mullen. Kathy will be followed by Colleen Myerscough.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Mullen. I'm here as a District 203 taxpayer, as well as an LBS and Special Ed Department Chair at Madison Junior High School. As a taxpayer, Please stop giving our tax money back to us and then crying poor after you do so. Those of us who live in the district and moved into the district knew exactly what we were signing up for when we moved here. And we expect our tax dollars to be collected for the school district and for that to be spent on students and teachers. You don't earn any favor in our eyes by sending us a tax abatement check. It's actually a little insulting because we really know that it's just a circus stunt. We know what you're up to. As an employee, due to lack of support from the district in my special education department at Madison and the current climate in this district where lip service is the best you can do in affirming our value, you have created incredibly low staff morale across the district, as evidenced by your own staff morale survey sent. It is very clear that teachers are second-class citizens. It's a good thing that I know my value, and I also know when to cut my losses. Sticking around for my post-retirement insurance benefit isn't even worth it to me right now. I used to be proud to work here. I can no longer say that and find myself sighing when I tell people I work in District 203. Having to fight for what is fair and equitable is the final straw for me. We've spent a lot of time in this district talking about equity over the past few years, but it would be really nice if that applied to teachers. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Colleen Myerscough. Colleen will be followed by Tiffany Papafatopoulos. Hopefully I got that right.
Hi,
Good evening.
I'm Colleen Myerscough, Naperville resident, former student of, and now parent of School District 203 student. I appreciate the school board speaking up to the city council about the IMEA issue, but I'm not agreeing with them so much on this one. Teachers have one of the most thankless jobs ever. Why do they continue to be undervalued? They deserve to receive raises just like everyone else. They shouldn't have to fight for them, but just not just for inflation, but for the incredible work that they do for all of their students, our kids. I'm not going to pretend to understand everything that goes on surrounding these negotiations or how teachers' pay works. All I know is that teachers do a job that so many of us couldn't or wouldn't want to do. They are the lifeblood of the schools. You guys need to support them. They need you to back them up. If you want to continue to be the school district that people move to Naperville for, I would ask you to please consider what they are asking for. And not just on the salary increase, they need their concerns addressed about the school day change that you seem to want to implement so badly. It doesn't really affect my family because my youngest is now a senior, but I feel for the families who don't support it. I know there's a lot that goes into it, but the first thing that comes to my mind is the longer class periods. I don't think kids can sit still for that, most kids. And extending the school day way too late at some schools creates logistical problems for working families. And I know a lot of time and effort has gone into figuring it out, but there's got to be other solutions. My kids have had some amazing teachers that they have truly loved in this district through their entire school careers, whom they will appreciate and remember for the rest of their lives. I don't think they want to strike, but we support it if it's the only way to make progress. And even though mine is almost done with 203, I still care about the schools and teachers in this community because it doesn't just affect the students, but the whole community. Happy teachers and good schools keep our neighborhoods strong and prepare our kids to be future leaders. We need teachers to still want to come to this district to work instead of wanting to leave. Please try to be more honest with the community on updates that you put out and really try to work with the teachers on what they're asking for. They deserve that at the very minimum. And our schools deserve a board that believes in investing in their teachers. It's not just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Tiffany Papafatopoulos. Tiffany will be followed by Rob Hunt. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. As much as I tell my 8th graders, it's okay to get up in front of people, and it's natural to be nervous, and here I am being nervous. So my name is Tiffany Papafatopoulos. I'm going to keep my comments short and sweet. And I'm a proud, grateful junior high teacher of 29 years, the last 18 of which have been at Madison Junior High. I want to begin by expressing how proud I am to teach in District 203. I am one of the teachers that has experience in a different district, and I'm so grateful to be here. I have the utmost respect and admiration for our parents, and immense love and pride for the students that they send to me every day. It is my hope and it is my prayer at night that the board and teachers can quickly come to an agreement that benefits all stakeholders. No one wants a work stoppage. No one. As an aside, I wanted to point out that in today's email from the district publishing every teacher's salary and raise by name, I didn't notice administrative salaries and raises. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Rob Hunt. Rob will be followed by Amy Vogelsang. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the board, colleagues, and community members. My name is Rob Hunt. I proudly serve as a junior high executive for the Naperville Unit Education Association and as our crisis chair. I've given 28 years of my 32 years of teaching to being a 6th grade language arts teacher at Lincoln Junior High School. On behalf of our educators, I want to thank the Naperville 203 community for the overwhelming support we've received during these difficult negotiations. We all love a good hashtag. Hashtag demean. Hashtag devalue. Hashtag defeat. First, hashtag demean. Our educators are asking for two things: fairness and respect. First, compensation. District 203 is falling behind our neighbors in providing competitive salaries. Districts such as Indian Prairie 204, Elmhurst, Barrington, St. Charles, Wheaton, and Plainfield all offer stronger packages, while our educators are being asked to take on more and more. Workload has intensified incredibly as we address increased student academic, behavioral, and social emotional needs, and we're here for that. Despite this, the district suggests that meeting our request would require raising taxes or cutting staff. It's not true. The district has over 300 days of cash on hand and since 2017 has returned nearly $37 million in tax abatements and refunds. The resources are there. Our ask is both reasonable and affordable. Next hashtag, devalue. Second, the school day. The district's proposed innovative school experience would shift start and end times, disrupt after-school activities, and in some cases reduce learning time for students. We believe that several of these changes are not in the best interest of our community or our members, and we outlined those concerns during our February 3rd presentation to this very board. Finally, hashtag defeat. Over the past several months, our bargaining team has spent more than 160 hours at the table with District 203. Our contract expired on June 30th, yet we returned to work last week without a new agreement in place. Unfortunately, we've seen very little progress since March, which is why we are here tonight. Let me be clear. Our educators do not want to strike, not one of them. But we cannot ignore the fact that 5 of your last 6 contract negotiations with District 203 locals have ended in federal mediation. That pattern signals a conscious choice to demean, to devalue, and to defeat the very people who make this district strong. Our community deserves stability, and our students deserve educators who feel hashtag inspired, hashtag united, and hashtag elevated. We urge the board to come back to the table with a genuine commitment to be a hashtag partner in growth. When teachers thrive, students thrive, and our entire community that we all love thrives. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Amy Vogelsang. Amy will be followed by Colin White. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Amy Vogelsang, and I'm a teacher at Naperville North. I am here tonight to express my deep concern and disappointment with the tone that District 203 has taken in these contract negotiations. This should be a joyful time of year. greeting new students, catching up with colleagues. Instead, it is a time of uncertainty and frustration. The trust between employer and employee has been broken. Your assurances of valuing educators and bargaining in good faith are empty words betrayed by your actions. People who value educators do not publicly denigrate them with implications of greed, lack of understanding, or lack of care for students. People bargaining in good faith do not send threats of layoffs, tax hikes, and revocation of benefits during the staff professional day and while the negotiation teams are in session. The district has weaponized its ability to reach out directly to the community to paint a distorted picture of the Naperville Unit Education Association. You have implied that we want to be on strike. We want to be in our classrooms, completely focused on the incredible young people in our care. We want to be home tonight. But we also want a fair contract. And if the district is willing to disrupt the school year by refusing to make that happen, then we will strike. 3 minutes is not nearly enough time to describe the disingenuity of publicly tabling the innovative school experience and then trying to backdoor a blank check for it into the contract. High school teachers can tell you how that went with advisory. It's not enough time to explain the need for full cost of living raises separate from the merit increases in the salary schedule. It is only the combination of these two things that makes education a sustainable career. But know that our community is smart and savvy, and they will not take the word of your biased communications. We are 203, and we deserve better. Also, I thought we were done with this, but trans rights are human rights. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Colin White. Colin will be followed by Jenny Johnson. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Colin White. I'm a 9-year teacher at Naperville North High School. I'm here again to speak as the teachers union and the district continue to negotiate a fair and deserving contract. A fair and deserving contract for all teachers of all grade levels and years of experience. Unfortunately, this board consistently repeats claims about the union and its intentions. Following the recent near unanimous strike authorization vote, the board's message to the community on August 15th, signed by the current board president, intentionally uses language in an effort to deceive the community into believing that this unit actually wants to strike. It states, while union representatives have publicly stated they do not want a strike, this action suggests otherwise. I was disappointed to read this on the first Friday of the school year, sent to my inbox at 2:52 p.m. before my school day even ended. The board's community news updates continue to try to undermine what this union has consistently said all along, despite switching from the superintendent signing the updates on negotiations to now the board president. We are hopeful that a tentative agreement can be reached with talks continuing tomorrow. However, it is hard to trust this board. This is a board that has asked the union to delay contract talks prior to the COVID contract for another year so that they could figure out the details for what ultimately became the high school level homeroom, win, or source schedules. We now experience a similar situation where this board delayed negotiations on this contract in order to present and implement their innovative school experience, which is arguably not innovative at all. The main changes are to the school start and end times and gives the high school a block schedule. This was a plan presented 6 months ago to this community for the first time with the explicit goal of implementing this plan this school year. Further, this board continuously asserts that they cannot afford the union's offer without necessitating cuts to staff or raising taxes. Per their own community news update on August 12th, they said even their board proposal will necessitate budget cuts and reductions in staffing. So what can they afford? Can they afford to hire multiple administrators who seemingly do similar jobs and pay them 2 to 4 more times than what a teacher makes? Can they afford to pay educational consultants outrageous fees to rebrand and repackage instructional strategies we already know? Can they afford to have in excess twice the amount of required cash on hand? Can they afford to spend money on purchasing and distributing individual plastic hand clappers for every teacher since they won't appreciate us with actual money? I wish I could say it's bewildering to watch this board operate the same playbook against its union that major corporations have against unions in recent years. They threaten that if labor gets what it wants, prices will have to go up and people will need to lose their jobs. This board does not want to pay its educators what they deserve, and it is not prepared to execute and implement the new innovative school experience anytime soon. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jenny Johnson. Jenny will be followed by Lindsay Dow.
Hi, my name is Jenny Johnson. I'm beginning my 34th year teaching, my 16th at Naperville North. I'm here tonight to tell you I'm kind of angry. Though I've taught in 4 different districts in 2 different states, I have only started school twice without a contract in my entire career. Here in 2021 and here in 2025. I'm also angry that this board and this cabinet keep sending me emails during the school day trying to convince me that their offer really is good and I should just accept it. I'm angry that you send me these emails during the school day threatening to pull my insurance, to lay off my friends, to raise taxes. Guys, I had students in front of me when you sent 2 of those. Those are my focus. I'm really angry that you did that to me and to them. I'm angry that the board and the cabinet keep saying you value me. You value my hours of work until it's time to pay me. I'm here tonight to ask you to stop spinning the numbers of your offer. Please stop bundling steps and raises. No other district does that when discussing their offers. If you're proud of your offer and really feel it's your best, tell it straight. Stop gaslighting us. To own your offer. For me, at my part in the salary schedule, the flat raise is about 2%. So tell it. Honestly, I'm still angry about our last contract. In 2021, you told NUEA and the community you could only afford a 0.94% raise. And then you had a huge surplus that you just gave back in a tax abatement, so I guess you could afford it. I'm sure you understand that teachers truly felt cheated when that happened. I'm angry that we're still talking about this. You guys, this should have been figured out a long time ago. This is not a poor district. The compensation that teachers are asking for is reasonable. We're some of the best educators in this state. Get our contracts settled this week. Let us focus on our students. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Lindsay Dow.
Good evening.
And Lindsay, Lindsay, will be followed by Jenny George.
Good evening. My name is Lindsay Dow, and I'm a proud teacher at BB Elementary. You tell us we are the heart of your schools, but your actions speak far louder than your words. We're asked to take workplace morale surveys, and when the results come in, they're conveniently ignored. We ask again and again for time to collaborate, time to plan, time to breathe, reset, or simply use the bathroom. But instead of supporting those needs, you want to extend the school day, adding more minutes of instruction. In one meeting, a district leader actually suggested we could use that extra time to help the kids zip up coats and tie shoes. If that's what you think we're asking for, it's clear you're not listening. You say we're valued, but your treatment tells a different story. We're not seen as professionals, we're seen as replaceable bodies, tools to get results, numbers that look good on a spreadsheet or a website. I want to be clear. I love this district. I love working with our students, with our families, and with the incredibly dedicated staff I'm lucky to call my colleagues. I want to stay here. I want to grow my career here. But the way we've been treated, not just in these negotiations, but over the past few years, has made me think seriously about whether I can. 203 is no longer top tier when it comes to pay for new educators. The scale is capped forcing early educators already buried in student debt to take on even more just to move forward. I'm one of those teachers. I'm beginning my 13th year in education and my 5th year in the district. Yet I've been stuck at year six on the salary schedule since I arrived. I accepted that when I joined 203. I was drawn in by the district's strong reputation and the positive energy I had heard so much about. I thought, no big deal, I'll earn my master's and move up the scale. But then I chose to prioritize my growing family. And when I began searching for affordable master's programs, I learned this district won't accept them. I reached out to HR for help. I asked HR for a list of approved affordable programs. I was told none exist and just to ask around. Other districts don't operate this way. Many accept all state accredited programs. Some even help cover tuition. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for affordable options and a salary that allow me to support both my students and my family so that I no longer need to work a second job. Then there's class size. You keep saying our class sizes are low. Because of curriculum changes, staffing is stretched thin. Instead of hiring additional teachers, responsibilities are simply piled on. This fall, I'll have nearly 30 students in my 4th grade math class, almost 10 more than the past 4 years. Let's be honest, it seems like the only thing you care about is saving money. This entire contract negotiation has made one thing crystal clear. You don't see us as professionals, you see us as interchangeable parts.
Time.
Expected to keep smiling, keep producing, keep showing up no matter how heavy the burden. While we do show up, we come early, we stay late, we give our planning periods, our breaks, and oftentimes with our own families, all because we care about our students. But that care, that energy, that heart we give every single day, it is not
Lindsay,
reflected back to us.
your time is expired. Our next speaker is Jenny George. Jenny will be followed by Gavin George. Good evening.
My name is Jenny George. I'm the parent of 3 children and a community member. I've been quietly watching the negotiations between this administration and our teachers, which has now gone on for many months with what appears to be very little progress. I was content to allow things to just play out until Dan and Charles started sending emails attempting to turn this community against our teachers. You're using your access to parents to spin and mislead about these negotiations. The most egregious claim in your emails is that the district simply doesn't have the money to pay our teachers. Well, anyone can look at the budget and see that we do indeed have the money. The district just chooses to spend our tax dollars elsewhere. Now, I'm obviously not an expert on how much teachers should be paid, but I do know that their job has gotten significantly harder over the past few years because of policies adopted by this board and administration. I know that the vast majority of our teachers work incredibly hard and care deeply about our children. This administration has consistently made decisions that put our students and teachers last while pursuing every useless fad that does nothing to improve proficiency rates of our students or the outcomes of students. So if you're asking us to pick between the board and our teachers, we pick the teachers. The fact that you would even allow these negotiations to get close to a strike is irresponsible and shows a shocking lack of level of incompetence. Now, if you're having trouble finding the money, let me help you. First, you're spending $27 million this year on professional services. I assume this includes lawyers to help you figure out how to pay our teachers less. We don't want to pay for that. Next, recently you just approved a transportation hub for $17 million. Maybe that needs to be put on hold. How about all the money you've spent on the innovative school schedule? Let's table that. How about the almost $6 million in psychological services? You aren't qualified to provide medical health services, so maybe you should get out of that business altogether. What about travel expenditures for administrators? How about all the ridiculous surveys you force on our kids? Let's cut that out completely. What about the crazy number of project managers that you have? Again, you are prioritizing Dan's pet projects over our teachers. Someone needs to take a very critical look at the administration, the number of positions, the salaries, the travel expenditures. I think we can find a lot of savings there. This school board was elected by the community to represent the community, but you are not focusing on the priorities of this community. We live in Naperville and pay exorbitant property taxes so that our children can get the best education possible. When you devalue our teachers, that is not what is best for our kids. This board needs to start doing their job and focusing on what is best for students and teachers. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Gavin George. Gavin will be followed by Nancy Goodfellow. Good evening.
Hi. My name is Gavin George. I'm a senior at Naperville Central, and I'm here tonight to advocate for paying our teachers fairly. I've been a student in this district since 3rd grade, and I can tell you firsthand that the teachers in this district work very hard and care a lot about their students. This district would be nothing without our great teachers. It is not the administrators and school board that make this district top-notch. It's not just, I see what our teachers have to deal with on a daily basis. It's not just a full schedule of classes, but all the planning they do and meetings with students in their free time or at lunch. I can't believe this board is willing to let our teachers strike rather than pay them what they deserve. A strike would be incredibly disruptive to students when we are just starting the semester. Hasn't this administration hurt the students of 203 enough with their poor leadership? Now, you want us to sit at home, not learning anything at all, while other districts give their students an education and AP classes keep moving. I get a lot of emails from Central about how important attendance is, but apparently you don't really think that attendance is that important. What kind of message are you sending to students? It seems like you think that going to school isn't important at all. And what about athletics? If teachers strike, no fall sport can compete until classes resume, including the sporting events that I have next Monday. So not only are we not learning, but we can't even participate in athletics. My coaches have always told me to treat every single opportunity like it's my last. But how can I do that if I don't know when my next opportunity to run is? Along with that, many of our athletes depend on these short seasons to earn college scholarships. And some students can only go to college if they earn athletic scholarships. Are you really okay taking those opportunities away from students? If you allow this to happen, then please stop saying that you care about the students in this district, because the actions that you have taken these last few weeks have shown otherwise. I am a high school student, and I can see that this is wrong. How do the adults in this room not see that? This is not complicated. Our teachers aren't asking to make anything even close to what these administrators make. And I doubt you could find anyone who thinks that a teacher's job is easier than an administrator's job. So let's start acting like adults and give our teachers what they're worth.
Our next speaker is Nancy Goodfellow. Nancy will be followed by Kyle Wood.
Hello, my name is Nancy Goodfellow, and I'm speaking to you today as a parent. In 2003, when I was pregnant with my first child, we received a prenatal diagnosis of Down syndrome. My husband and I were living in the city at the time and had already started looking for homes in the suburbs when we had first found out we were expecting. We had focused our search in places like Downers Grove and Elmhurst because we wanted to stay closer to the city. However, upon receiving the diagnosis of Down syndrome, we immediately knew we needed to focus our search in Naperville. District 203's reputation for not only being an excellent school district, but also being a district that fostered inclusion and acceptance was something that numerous people expressed to us. These included friends and family members who actually worked in other school districts. We moved to Naperville because of 203 and the quality education we knew it would provide. And although there were times when I may have disagreed with the teachers and administrators about my daughter's education, those disagreements were always worked out in a collaborative environment that centered around mutual respect. I can honestly say that collaboration continued for the last 18 years. Not only did my oldest daughter attend District 203 schools through the transition program, but I had 2 other children without disabilities go through District 203 as well. But despite the collaborative environment that I still received and experienced in the IEP meetings, I have seen a shift over the years in both the district's reputation and its ability to retain excellent educators. I have witnessed teachers leaving because they did not feel supported or valued. I have listened to families who have a child with a disability express frustration at not receiving the services they'd come to expect from this district. And I have read the emails and social media posts that have described major changes to a school day that people did not ask for and would have significant impacts if implemented. Parents and educators do not feel like discussions regarding these changes have been collaborative. I may no longer have children in 203 schools, but I am here because I still believe in the teachers in this district. From the veteran teachers who provided all 3 of my children with a quality education, to the new teachers who graduated high school with my daughter and are now just starting out their careers. I believe in the children in 203 who deserve the level of education Naperville is known for. But that education is not delivered from a boardroom or an office down the street from the school. That education is delivered by the teachers and support staff who greet the students each morning, are in the classroom with them, are acknowledging them in the halls, giving them hugs when they fall at recess, or writing college recommendation letters. District 203 is only great if the teachers are great. And if the teachers can't afford to work here or aren't supported and appreciated, then they will go to other districts. And families like mine will never move to Naperville because other school
Time.
districts will have the reputation. Sincerely hope you won't let that happen.
Our next speaker is Kyle Wood. Kyle will be followed by Amanda Wood. Good evening.
I'm going to be honest, I hate standing up here, but I love this district and I believe in the mission. I also believe there is a need for greater empathy and understanding. So please understand that the numbers on your spreadsheet literally state how much you value our work. When you talk about averages, remember that averages indicate inequitable distribution within the range. A raise that doesn't keep up with inflation means the district I have dedicated my professional life to values me less now than they did last year. That hurts. It's just going to be honest. I have served on committees for curriculum, assessment, and most recently the morale committee. Our professional working agreements always include to assume good intentions when having difficult conversations. So I won't speculate about intentions, but I will tell you that recent communication I have received felt like an attack. But I prefer to focus on the positive. So I want to call back to how things used to be. I've been here long enough to remember a time when relationships were better. So I'd like to shift the focus to what I think made this district world-class to begin with. Again, I love this district and this community. I started here in 2010, and I still remember the pride I felt when I first got the job. My friends in other districts asked how I managed to land a job in 203, and if I could put in a word for them. In those early days of my career, the district put out a call for proposals for an innovation process. A veteran teacher joined me in proposing a pilot to explore tech in the art room. Over 3 years, we were more successful than I ever would have dreamed of, including my students getting recognition from the White House, no less. And I still remember that was kind of my first meaningful interaction with Mr. Bridges. It was a Saturday morning. I was in my 20s. I was thrilled, but also nervous as could be because I had never planned a field trip, and my very first one was going to be sending students across the country to meet the president. And as I asked probably about 100 questions at once simultaneously, I remember Mr. Bridges looked at me. He smiled and he said, "Relax, we've got this." And he and the administration, they took care of all the logistics so I could just focus on the students. I miss feeling that supported here in 203. And so I would ask that you find a compromise for the good of all the stakeholders in this community. I'd like to see the leaders bring the temperature down and focus on a shared victory rather than shifting blame.
Our next speaker is Amanda Wood. Amanda will be followed by Emma Oliver. Good evening.
Hello. My name is Amanda Wood. I'm an elementary health tech at Prairie Elementary. I am the first vice president of the Naperville Education Support Professional Association, or NESPA, and I am Region 39 chair. I am speaking tonight on behalf of Region 39. I am proud of all of the titles I just listed, but I am particularly proud of the title of that of an NUEA union sibling. I am proud to work alongside NUEA members at Prairie and in my union duties. There are some NUEA members that I have formed friendships with outside of these buildings. I'm even married to one. NESPA, NUMA, and NTA, the other three locals, stand in solidarity with NUEA. The four locals make up Region 39, and none of us are strangers to what NUEA is feeling right now. The feelings of anger, frustration, exhaustion, and stress. We know what it's like to read these hostile emails from board members that haven't set foot in your classrooms or offices daily. We know what it's like to have negotiations go into mediation and the pressure that puts on your mind and heart. We too have seen our contracts expire and left us wondering, now what? We have felt the uncertainty of what an innovative school day looks like for our families at home. And believe me, we know what it's like to be undervalued and underpaid. However, there's a flip side to this. The four of us who make up Region 39 can push through that anger, frustration, exhaustion, and stress. Time and time again, NUEA teachers have shown this district and community what dedicated and talented educators they are. They have a voice and they deserve to be heard. They are creative and they are joyful. They teach and they inspire and they put in the work. They deserve to be shown value and paid fairly. To my union siblings, be proud of who you are and your work. And to this board, please know that we stand in solidarity. We are Region 39 and we are stronger united.
Our next speaker will be Emma Oliver. Emma will be followed by Ashley McMahon. Good evening.
Good evening to our D203 School Board, Cabinet, and community. My name is Emma Oliver, and I have just started my 11th year as a band director at Elmwood and Kingsley Schools, unfortunately without a contract. But it's also my first year as a D203 parent. I am speaking in support of teachers and my sincere hope that the bargaining team will support NUEA and reach a fair contract. When I was hired in District 203 in 2015, it was my happily ever after. Being hired as a teacher in the destination district where my then boyfriend and now husband grew up was a dream come true as a young educator. 7 years ago, we were able to buy a house in 203 Boundaries during a lucky moment in the housing market, which felt like a further realization of that dream. Being able to live and work in a community that valued public education seemed logical for us as a two-teacher household. But the last two contract negotiations for NUEA have made me feel undervalued as an educator. We have received messages implying that NUEA is asking for more than our fair share, that we are damaging the district's long-term finances. After all, why would 203 teachers need a raise if we're already being paid in the top 3% of educators in the state? Well, can teachers actually afford the high cost of living in Naperville? Barely. There's a reason that my family is in the minority of D203 teachers by actually living in 203 Boundaries. Teachers face long commutes and difficult financial choices to manage their finances responsibly. For my family, we live in a small house. We chose to only have one child, and I haven't been on an airplane since 2018. All families make their own financial choices, and we're living within our means. To be clear, I am not looking for pity, and I am not ashamed. I know that we have a lot to be thankful for, too. I'm proud to be a teacher in this district and teach alongside incredible, knowledgeable, and highly effective teachers. But I resent being made to feel greedy for advocating for fair compensation when the district has abated taxes and has 300 days of cash on hand. I proudly drive a Honda, and I don't aspire to buy a Mercedes on our 2-teacher income. But I also want to be able to save for my daughter's college education and my retirement. I want to be able to support my daughter's dreams and desires, currently figure skating and gymnastics. I want the same things for my family that any 203 parent would want, and I do not think that makes me greedy. Teachers are the most public-facing representatives of District 203. In fact, when we talk about school experience, it is not an overstatement to say that teachers are the school experience. Please prioritize teachers' compensation and grant NUEA a fair contract. Thank you for your time, your attention, and your service.
Our next speaker is Ashley McMahon. Ashley will be followed by Crystal Maloff.
Hello, my name is Ashley McMahon. I am a 10-year educator of District 203. I speak today in an attempt to illuminate for the public a common experience shared by educators across District 203. The feeling of being the target of misleading and weaponized rhetoric by those who lead the district in the past 2 weeks. On the second Institute Day for most educators across the district, an email was sent to certified staff on August 12th. Barely an hour after we entered our buildings, the email stated regarding the district's flat rate raise of less than $3,000 for each educator in the district, that the updated offer would lead to the need for reducing further spending and staff positions across the district. In a moment where I was supposed to be training in order to support high school students, I instead watched as my colleagues read their email. And as they read their email, they wondered, is this a veiled warning about our job security? The same email went on to say, during the duration of a strike, compensation will cease and insurance benefits, including health and dental insurance, may be disrupted, or employees may be responsible for full premium amounts. As we continued about our day, some colleagues asked me, if we're at work trying to focus on trainings, why then is our employer talking about cutting off access to our insurance? Setting aside my own disgust at this language, I think perhaps it may be appropriate to introduce some financial context alongside these emails. The Illinois State Board of Education requires districts across the state to submit an annual fund report each year to monitor finances. As part of its financial profile, ISB assessed District 203 in 2024 based on submitted data, and it received a 4, which ranks it in the highest category of financial designation across the 851 districts in the state. District 203 is consistently designated as deserving of financial recognition, had over 309 days of cash on hand in 2024, far beyond the minimum of 180 days of cash on hand listed, needed at the minimum. And based on direct revenue and expenditures, 203 projects to take in $8.2 million more this year. Based on this context, I have a question remaining. Why then does the district maintain that it cannot afford a competitive or fair pay for its educators? This is a question weeks later and many, many emails later that educators, all of us in 203, are still wondering. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker will be Crystal Maloff. Crystal will be followed by Joe Nickel. Good evening and welcome.
Hi, my name is Crystal Maloff, and I am a proud NUEA member. I had a different speech prepared today, one where I explained the salary schedule and how it worked so that the community could understand it, and why a flat raise of $27.50 in the first year per cell is not only unfair, but insulting. As an experienced educator, a flat rate of very little, I might add, sends the disheartening message that my years of dedication are worth the same dollar amount as a first-year teacher with no experience. This undermines the professionalism and commitment of every educator in the district. I was also going to explain our reason for requesting mediation, public posting, and taking a strike vote. All of those things are part of a legal timeline, and it is like buying insurance. A homeowner doesn't buy insurance because they want a storm to hit. They get it because they will regret not having it if there is a damaging storm. 5 out of the 6 contract negotiations in our district have gone as far as mediation. What does that say about our need for having insurance? But after the latest district communication that came out today, I decided I needed to focus on morale. I was a part of the morale committee for the last 2 years because I genuinely want to improve how our district educators feel about being in this district. So when we are constantly receiving emails villainizing our leaders from protecting us from gray language that would allow a school day plan that hasn't even been created yet to be in our contract, it's damaging to morale. When our negotiators follow rules of confidentiality, but the district publishes their posting before the official date, it's damaging to morale. When the district and board president tell the staff and community that there would need to be cuts or tax raises, when we have 300 days of cash on hand, can afford to give massive raises to administrators, and can give taxpayers abatements and refunds, it's damaging to morale. If we can't come to an agreement with a fair contract, this will be really hard to come back from. We are often reminded we do everything for the students, but remember that we are the ones who are working with the students and making them excel and making this district look good. So if you won't do this for us, do it for the students. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Joe Nickel. Joe will be followed by Mandy Burt. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you. I was out here. My name is Joe Nickel, parent, teacher, alumni of District 203. So we were out here ready to go to send a message out on the parking lot by Naperville Central. Mother Nature had other ideas, but I'll tell you what, it didn't save the storm that was brought here tonight. We came here to let you know that we don't feel the respect. You're sending us a message every email. You do not respect us. I am, like I said, an alumni. I grew up. I was born in Edwards Hospital. Student. I started as a paraprofessional. Met my wife here. And I even had one of my former students as one of my groomsmen in my wedding. I coach here. I'm fully ingrained in all this. I don't know if you guys are hearing us. We've been trying to speak. We've gone to different forums to tell you we do not feel respected. Our morale is low. No one gets into teaching because they want to make a lot of money. No one's going to say that. No one's going to say, hey, that's a pretty lucrative career that you're going into. Okay, we do it for the students, but we also need to get the support. We need to be able to have our own families. So right now, I don't know if you guys have been listening, but I'm going to speak to the community. We are here for your students. We just need the support too. You voted, we voted for the taxes to support our teachers, our education system. The board has chosen not to take that money and then has claimed that they can't afford it. Please ask this board to do what you voted for them to do. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mandy Burt. Mandy will be followed by Gil Wagner. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. Hello, my name is Mandy Burt, and I've been a community member for 12 years in District 203, and now, as of last week, I'm on year 4 as a District 203 parent, and that's actually why I'm here today. Over the last few weeks, we've received community communications from both the school district administrators and the school board. And these emails have either implied or directly stated that teachers are irresponsible, greedy, or expensive. That comes in direct contrast to what I've seen working closely with these teachers for the past 4 years. These words are categorically false. But in case you haven't been in a classroom recently, or ever, let me tell you about the extra time, talent, effort, and money these teachers pour into our kids. When my son was in private preschool, before Kingsley, he loved school, every bit of it, except art. He would dodge the art station every day. No markers, no paint, no Play-Doh, no thank you. To say that his fine motor skills were lagging when he arrived on Kingsley's doorstep is an understatement. My first memory of him in kindergarten is proudly leading us over to a wall where his teacher had hung up a self-portrait, or so we think. He may have actually drawn a ghost. His writing was that faint. Now, though, his art is being showcased in the yearbook and in district art shows. This surge in confidence and creativity is the direct result of what has been poured into him in kindergarten through 2nd grade by his classroom teachers and his amazing art teacher. But my son isn't the only thing these teachers transform. They transform the learning experience for all kids every day at Kingsley. There has been a bowling alley in the gymnasium for PE that could put Bolero out of business. There have been author celebrations where students publish their own writing and invite their families in to share it with them. Wish days where students can pick seats or even help teach parts of math lessons. And we can't forget the 2nd grade music show last year where they sang about food groups, and the enthusiasm from the singers and the applause from the crowd rivaled the Eras Tour. I have only scratched the surface of what these teachers do. So the words we should be using are dedicated, creative, and priceless. It's time to put some respect back on these teachers' names and on the work that they do, and that starts with this contract, not just with fair salaries, but with competitive salaries that keep them at Kingsley and in the rest of the district, and an end to this innovative school experience nonsense once and for all. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Gil Wagner. Gil will be followed by Christine Bell.
Good evening, everybody. First, I want to say thank you to everybody for your time tonight. I also want to say hi to the 100 or so people you stuffed in the back room because you chose to have it at this little tiny district place instead of a place where everybody can come. So I live in Bolingbrook, and my son attends Kingsley Elementary School. So just so you know, Mr. Cush, when your email came out today, there's other people in your district besides people who live in Naperville. My tax dollars also go to District 203. First, I want to thank you for your time tonight. As a former board member myself, I would encourage all of you to remember why you entered the board, why you ran for school board, and how important you are to this community and who you are here to represent as a board member. As board president of District 33 for 4 years, I sat on 2 negotiations with the teachers union. We would never have thought to send out emails or produce a video to make the teachers union look bad. It was disheartening to me to see the board do that to this union. We have all seen the emails that paints the union as greedy. None of them mention is the innovative school day and how the district is trying to put it in the contract. Even though the board and Mr. Bridges agreed to get more community input before moving forward with it. There's been little to no discussion about the new school day with stakeholders. Today, Mr. Cush said on a video asking the public to get involved and work together. Why now? Why did we spend all that time in the spring discussing the new school day for all of you to completely ignore everyone that expressed their opinions and completely dislike for this proposed school day? I just have a couple questions. My first question is, why wasn't this meeting moved to a bigger forum where we can put more people in the room and we can actually see everybody when everybody's talking? How does the board justify the large percentage pay raises for the administration over the past several years while telling the public now that there is enough money to pay teachers? Mr. Cush mentioned that cuts may be needed to make the contract work, how many administrators are on that list? We need teachers more than we need a top-heavy district. And my last thing I'd like to say is I want to remind all the board members that are sitting here that Dan Bridges works for you. You don't work for him.
Our next speaker is Christine Bell. Christine will be followed by Deb Newman. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you. I'm speaking on behalf of several educators for my building. My name is Christine Bell, and I am a community member, a parent of graduates of 203, as well as a teacher at Central. I'm here tonight because me and my colleagues are deeply disturbed by all of your recent communications. They seem more focused on dividing our community and educators than fostering collaboration and trust. From what I understand, there are two major issues in our current negotiations, and that's salary and the structure of our school day. And I'm going to speak to both. Let's start with the proposed changes to the school day. Is there a finalized plan? Are we still considering block scheduling at both the high school and the junior high levels? And a 15-minute extension at the elementary level? If so, where is that plan? You're asking teachers to agree to a contract that allows for significant structural changes without providing a clear roadmap or meaningful input from educators. It's not collaboration. That's blind trust. And given the past experiences, it's understandable why teachers are hesitant. We saw what happened in February when many teachers voiced concerns. Decisions often reflect administrative preferences, not the collective voices of educators. So I ask again, who truly knows what's best for students? Is it administrators or the educators who are working directly with our students every day? Often a few teachers are handpicked to serve on committees, but their input is either disregarded, go along with what's been predetermined by administration, or used to justify decisions that the broader teaching staff does not support. The original plan presented last spring was met by overwhelming opposition. It would increase workloads and extend the elementary day without additional compensation. Why should we agree to that now? And what about start and end times? At a previous board meeting, it was stated that a summer committee would examine transportation logistics and determine appropriate times for each school level. Did that committee meet? If so, where are the findings? Nothing has been shared with staff or the community. Teachers and parents voiced strong concerns about these changes last spring. So what are the new proposed times? Will teachers have a say, or will we simply be told to adjust as we always do? Extending the elementary day without compensation is unfair. Implementing block scheduling at the other levels without recognizing the significant workload and plan required is unacceptable. Now let's talk about salaries. We understand that expenses cannot exceed revenues. That's a sound principle. But the narrative being pushed that teachers are asking the district to deplete its reserves is misleading. I haven't seen any proposals suggesting that. According to the board's own public data, base salary increases have historically tracked at around 95% of CPI. This year, CPI is 3.4%. You keep crying poor. However, you've added 96 new NUEA positions in the last 7 years. In the last 10 years, the average step in base increase has been 2.25% over CPI. So this should be a minimum of 5.65 of step and base for this year. And if you want innovative school experience, we're expecting to get paid to do that work. Year after year, the district reports surpluses in excess of $10 million. Even after approving $14 million for a new bus facility, there remains a considerable surplus. So I ask, what is the surplus being spent on? Yes, some should be saved for a rainy day. Let's be honest, this is the rainy day. Let's resolve this fairly and avoid a strike. And let's look at some other districts. Downers Grove, they're using block scheduling. Their starting salary is $66,910, and their top salary is $155,718. I think we're confident our members would accept that. I saw a posting for Tinley Park. Their board is offering 6% increase on the base. Offer that, and I'm sure we can reach a TA. In closing, we're not resistant to change. We're asking for transparency, collaboration, and respect. We want to be a part of the process, not sidelined by it. If the district truly values its teachers, its educators, then our voices must be heard and our work must be fairly compensated. Let's do what's right for our teachers, students, and our community. Let's get a fair TA. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Deb Newman. Deb will be followed by Anne Marie Tomick. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. In 1972, when I was a freshman in college, my mother went to jail. Her incarceration was short-lived, just a few hours, but I was so proud of her. You see, my mom was a teacher and a union rep at Sandy Hook Elementary. Yes, that's Sandy Hook. She was also on the leadership team that was forced to defy an injunction and strike in order to get the contract teachers needed to raise their families while serving the students that they loved. That's how passionate she was. My name is Deb Newman, and I've been a marketing professional in the community of Naperville for 40 years. I raised my boys here, I volunteered extensively in their schools, and have proudly served dozens of not-for-profit and businesses in this community. Some might say that I'm a community leader. Full disclosure, I have also helped NUEA do the research they needed to work on their last 2 board endorsements. I've seen firsthand how intelligent, prepared, passionate, and committed Naperville teachers are. My kids went to 204. I have never doubted that our district was partnered with teachers to provide a truly excellent education for our kids, the kind of education that sets up kids to be the future leaders of this community. And I know what it takes. It takes long hours. It takes extra help for kids. It takes a well-rounded curriculum that includes both after and before school programming. It takes endless hours of classroom prep, New Year prep, curricular prep. It takes specialized continuing education, certifications, and advanced degrees. It takes open and honest communication between the staff, the board, and the parents. And it takes money. The fact that District 203 is falling behind in offering competitive compensation, the fact is that that is the case. Teachers' workload continues to grow along with students' academic, behavioral, and social emotional needs. Many surrounding districts, including our own beloved District 204, offer a higher salary. So today, once again, I find myself proud of District 203 teachers. The district has well-earned reputation for delivering exemplary education. That fact alone should compel this board to deliver a contract befitting the passionate, exemplary educators in this community. You have the money. You continually claim to value your teachers. Naperville students and parents are counting on this board to honor their passion and put your money where your mouth is.
Our next speaker is Anne Marie Tomick. Anne Marie will be followed by Katie O'Boyle. Good evening and welcome.
Hey, good evening. Thanks for having us. My name's Anne Marie Tomick. I'm a middle school teacher. This is ridiculous. What is going on is ridiculous and it's unnecessary. I don't get why you're doing it. It is absolutely causing chaos in the community. It is causing chaos within your teachers because we got all these emails coming out of all over the place from all different kind of people. Because what? You guys are inconsistent. You don't know what you're doing. Are you unorganized? What is happening? But it's wrong. The smear campaign is unethical. The gaslighting to the community is unethical. Your delaying negotiations tactic, you're needing arbitrators to handle negotiating contracts. It shows your ineptness, your lack of organization, and it shows you do not bargain in good faith, and you can't get the job done. You're cramming that chaotic, senseless school day coming across to me. It is sinister. I don't know what you got planned going on, but it's not right because you are not forthright with that information. It is sinister. A fair contract absolutely can be accomplished. We do not need clappers. We don't need Sparky. We don't need the red balls of cheese to say you value us. Okay? We do need a fair contract. It is your job. And if you can't handle it, get out of those seats and we can put people in that can. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Katie O'Boyle. Katie will be followed by Olive O'Boyle. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Katie O'Boyle, and I am a teacher at Madison Junior High School, a parent of a Naperville Central student, a taxpayer in this community, and one of the 80 teachers in the back room watching and supporting us. As a parent, I am automatically signed up for Talk 203 notifications. When used for the purpose of communications and school needs, it is fantastic. However, when it is used as a platform for propaganda, it does real harm. As a marketing campaign to sell an opinionated and one-sided viewpoint, it breaks down relationships that schools build with families, the opposite of district stated beliefs. The teachers are the ones who will need to repair the damage that you have done with these messages. As a parent, I publicly reject the use of Talk 203 in this way. The city's communication platform, Naper Notify, did not send out such updates when they negotiated with the fire and the police. But then again, they gave them a 7% raise for each of the next 2 years, with a $4,250 bonus for those who have been there for more than 25 years. That is because those firemen and police must have salaries that live in the real world, just like teachers. The unfortunate truth is that the purchasing power of the dollar has fallen. Salaries may look high, but that is because prices are high. The fact is, if you were to adjust salaries based on a formula of CPI increase, a teacher hired in 2023 at the base salary of $52,552 a year would need to make $61,720 in 2025 just to have equal purchasing power. Someone hired in 2021 at the base salary of $50,000 would need to make $66,000 just to be able to have the same purchasing power, no raises, no step increase. Outlandish, welcome to the real world economy. Welcome to a place where I, as a teacher, have to pay real bills that are the real world and one day maybe hope for retirement. What this really comes down to is what is the value of a district teacher? The value of a Naperville teacher is far more than the $2 to $5 they make per student per hour. The value is in the heart, the one that I have trusted schools with since she was 5 years old, and the one that makes her laugh, taught her to believe in herself, challenged her to want to succeed, consoled her in times of struggle, and inspired her to find the passion within. And with all due respect, that was not you. That was her teachers. They are teachers, they are people that I could never repay because what they gave was so beautifully given. My daughter was raised in 203. In fact, Dan, you might remember meeting her when she was a 1-year-old in Madison's lunchroom in the summer when we were doing some things back at Madison. And today she's here to talk to you.
Our next speaker will be Olive O'Boyle. Olive will be followed by Liz Yankee.
Hi.
Welcome, Olive.
My name is Olive O'Boyle, and I'm a sophomore at Naperville Central High School. The impact teachers have on their students is nothing short of remarkable. Their value is truly priceless. I've been blessed with amazing teachers who have made my school experience not just good, but life-changing. In kindergarten, my teacher, Mrs. Hens, helped my parents and I recognize that I struggle with emotional regulation. She didn't judge me, she saw my intelligence and believed in me. In first grade, Mrs. Blank taught me to read from just a few sentences to chapter books. And in fourth grade, Mrs. Elson helped me connect to academics in a new way. By fifth grade, Mrs. Maida helped me double my scores during online learning, and her teaching and belief gave me the opportunity to test into honors classes. Middle school brought new challenges, especially anxiety, but teachers like Mrs. Hutchison made the transition easier, and Mrs. Tishak gave me the courage by casting me as the lion in The Wizard of Oz. She showed me I could do hard things. 8th grade was especially difficult with my grandma sick and then passing away, but teachers like Mrs. Ingeman and Mrs. Iwanek stood by me. They created tools I still use for anxiety, advocated for me, and helped me keep going when I wanted to give up. Even when my mental health made me not want to go to school, I did because I knew there were teachers who would brighten my day and put a smile on my face. And that continued into freshman year. Teachers like Miss Berryhill and Mrs. Melkars, Mr. Press, Herr Schultz, and Mrs. Blaskowitz. Even my 2nd grade teacher, Mrs. Vitello, was there to help Mrs. Johnson with my first high school musical. I was lucky enough to have Miss Lee, Mr. Bochensky, and especially Mrs. Tweetmeyer. She was my dream math teacher. Yes, I said dream and math in the same sentence. She helped my confidence grow in math exponentially. She didn't just care because it was her job, she cared because she wanted me to succeed and feel proud of myself. Freshman year, when I got really sick, every one of my teachers went above and beyond to reach out to me, to email me, to check on me. And then when I came back, they gave me the support and time that I needed to catch up. They didn't have to, but they did. I'm 15 now. 10 years have passed since kindergarten, and I still remember the impact of my very first teacher. 10 years from now, I'll still remember the impact of all of them. Teachers are worth more than words or money can express. They wake up on good and bad days, put aside their struggles, and devote their lives to helping students, even students who don't appreciate them. Their impact is forever, and I am living proof of that. So teachers, thank you.
Our next speaker will be Liz Yankee.
Well, I don't know how to follow that.
Liz.
That was amazing, Olive.
Liz will be followed, by Jen Norgard. Good evening and welcome.
Thank
Jennifer
you.
Norgard, sorry.
My name is Liz Yankee, and I have had the privilege of working in School District 203 for the past 25 years as a school social worker. I don't need to tell you that the profile of a learner today looks very different from 25 years ago. The social, emotional, and behavioral challenges we face on any given day require strength, commitment, flexibility, and empathy. 25 years ago, my job did not look like what it does today. We are called to meet so many different needs of students. We work harder than ever before. Yet we show up. We educate ourselves. We collaborate as teams. We pivot. It is your turn to show up for us. Investing in your teachers and school staff is more important than ever in these challenging times. A salary increase is not a luxury. It is a necessity today. If you want to maintain your world-class status, you need to invest in your teachers. What do you value? Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jennifer Norgard. Jennifer will be followed by Eric Michelle. Good evening and welcome.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Norgard, and I have taught science at Naperville Central since 2005. I also attended kindergarten through senior year at D203 schools. There are 2 points of frustrations that bring me here to speak tonight. First, I'm frustrated with the way recent D203 communications spin the numbers they share with the public and with teachers. One such communication shared percent raises teachers have received in total over the last 4 years. What they failed to share with the public is that their inflated numbers included the extra work that many of us have put in during our summers, taking graduate credits to move over in lanes on our pay scale. Over the 4-year period, that 2021 to 2024, that communication referenced, I invested over $10,000 of my own funds, not non-reimbursed, to take 11 graduate credits, or classes. This hard work allowed me as a single mother to move over 3 salary lanes in that 4 years based on optional professional development. Yet the district factored in my hard work and upfront investments in numbers presented to the public regarding teachers' raises over the past 4 years, to make it look as if me and my colleagues are ungrateful and asking for more money than we need to take care of our families. I am personally and professionally insulted by this misrepresentation. Second, in more than one recent communication to the public, D203 has reminded the community that teacher salaries are funded by their property taxes. At first inferring and then more blatantly spelling out that the only way D203 could afford to pay us more it is currently offering would be a tax hike. I'm glad to report that the community members I have talked to regarding taxes remember as well as I do that D203 has repeatedly achieved a budget surplus. They remember because the district has given the surplus back to the community members. This most recently occurred in 2021 when D203 gave the public back $10 million. The timing of this abatement directly followed the roller coaster of remote learning that we all endured along with parents. At one point, I had to find care for my 2 young children so that I could come to NCHS to teach students, including our district superintendent's daughter, exclusively through a screen while wearing a mask to protect an immunocompromised teacher that shared my room during different class hours. One of my colleagues was told that he would have to do the same, even though their spouse would be put at risk while they were immunocompromised during cancer treatment. Talk about a kick in the back when the district saw a surplus at that time as a chance to win over the community rather than as something to save towards future contract negotiations, knowing that staff had just worked beyond expectations to help keep the system running. I wish they would have been more fiscally responsible, planning for a future of mutual respect and fair wages. But instead, they claim to not have the funds now.
Our next speaker is Eric Michelle. Eric will be followed by Rebecca Michelle.
My name is Dr. Eric Michelle, and I'm speaking in support of the Naperville 203 teachers. I'm a tenured associate professor of management in the College of Business at Northern Illinois University, where I teach negotiations in the MBA program. I'm a subject matter expert in the areas of employee engagement and the drivers of career success. I bring to this conversation the perspective of a District 203 taxpayer, District 203 volunteer, father of District 203 students, and university professor who researches and teaches effective managerial practices. To be frank, I'm deeply disappointed by the disheartening conduct and bullying tactics of the district negotiating team. Not only has the district negotiating team engaged in zero-sum, win-lose bargaining at the expense of our dedicated, talented, and decorated 203 teachers, but they have also consistently sought to put forth a misleading narrative to deceive the community at large. On one hand, the district administrators and board are quick to trumpet the accolades earned by our teachers, how 203 is a nationally acclaimed lighthouse system, blue ribbon award-winning district, as well as our strong financial position resulting in returning nearly $37 million in tax dollars and having revenue that exceeds expenses. Then in the same breath, claim they cannot afford to pay instructional staff more without cutting programs, teacher positions, or raising taxes. From a human resources perspective, this type of insincere and deceitful conduct has grave consequences to the recruitment, morale, and retention of District 203 teachers, many of whom are superstars in their respective classrooms. The current board proposal regarding starting wages and compounded raises vastly undervalues the time, energy, and personal resources existing 203 teachers put forth to deliver a truly exceptional educational experience. Given the actions of district administrators to villainize teachers for pushing back against the pedagogically catastrophic Innovative School Experience, or ISE proposal that the public overwhelmingly opposes, it is likely staff morale will continue to suffer. As someone who teaches negotiation for a living, I urge you to remove the language regarding the half-baked ISE proposal from this contract. I also urge you to make it easier for 203 educators to move over on the salary schedule. Teachers report the Career 203 program is needlessly convoluted with layers of bureaucratic red tape and demotivating to many teachers who dedicate their lives to our children. In 2012, Superintendent Bridges was interviewed by Central Times and stated, I quote, "As an administrator, we look at it as our role and responsibility to support our building principals with the expectation that they are supporting their teachers, who then are supporting their students. Superintendent Bridges and the district negotiating team, this contract is your opportunity to support your teachers. We in the community are watching your actions to see if you really meant what you said about supporting teachers and ultimately our children, or if it was just all talk. Thank you."
Our next speaker is Rebecca Michelle. Rebecca will be followed by Jessica John. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Dr. Rebecca Michelle, and I'm a District 203 parent of a 4th grader and an 8th grader. I'm also a tenured Associate Professor of Counseling in the College of Education at DePaul University. We are here tonight because we care about our children and the educators who teach them. 7 years ago, we moved to Naperville because of the school district. That was our #1 reason. Because of teachers like Mrs. Yee, who received an award of special recognition by ISB, people like Ms. Scott, Ms. Cano, and so many other amazing educators who both teach students in the classroom while also mentoring future educators. In order to continue to attract and retain the best and the brightest teachers, we need to respect them, compensate them, and invest in them. Teachers need to be compensated fairly for the expertise they bring to the classroom. We also need to make it easier for teachers to get additional training and education so that they can share knowledge with our kids and secure lane advancements. As many of you know, there is a teacher shortage in our community, with many educators leaving the profession. The Illinois State Board of Education said that districts can address these shortages by investing in teachers, school leadership, through mentoring and financial incentives. In my job, I specialize in career satisfaction, and what keeps exceptional teachers in the field is fair compensation, positive relationships with colleagues, school-family partnerships, and administrative support. Last year, the district featured several schools during Teacher Appreciation Week. In one post, they stated, "To the incredible Maplebrook teachers, thank you for being all in for kids, families, and each other. Your compassion, dedication, and partnership with families help students thrive every day. We're beyond lucky to have you." But we need more than a week to honor our educators. We need to support them every day like they support our kids. I want to close by sharing a passage from the welcome letter from our daughter's ELA teacher. Dr. Aspen shared, "I pledge to create an environment where you feel seen, heard, and valued. We are a community of educators and learners, and so we'll need to imagine and create a space where we can take risks, make mistakes, and grow our brains. You, your voice, your commitment, your ideas, you matter. I see you and I care about you." I hope we can all be inspired by this message and see it as a call to action to come together to listen to and support each other during this time. We're all District 203 and we're all in this together. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Jessica John. Jessica will be followed by Richard Harris. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Jessica John, and I have been a math teacher at Naperville North for almost 20 years. In my time at District 203, I have been on curriculum committees, assessment committees. I was a co-creator of the Algebra 1 digital textbook, and I've represented this district by presenting at several conferences. I've had the opportunity to be a part of many district initiatives, such as PLCs, WIN, and SOAR at the high school level, that have been put in place to support our students. Superintendent Bridges. Last year, you and some colleagues personally observed one of my WIN sessions, a Tier 2 intervention where teachers can provide additional support to their students. What you saw was a classroom full of students up at the dry erase boards, engaging in meaningful learning, collaborating and communicating effectively with their peers, and teachers providing support and guidance, helping students to have positive attitudes as they persevered through content that was challenging for them. What you witnessed was a classroom full of students exhibiting the competencies of District 203's profile of a learner. And what everyone in this room and watching at home knows is that this is happening in classrooms all throughout this district each and every day. What people might not know is that establishing a classroom community where students feel included, safe, and respected does not always come naturally. It comes from the hard work and the dedication of teachers. Teachers who work countless hours creating activities that engage their students, teachers who invest their time and energy learning their students' interests in order to establish positive relationships with them. Teachers who encourage and inspire their students to reach their goals and maximize their potential. Teachers who support the social emotional well-being of their students by helping them adapt to an ever-changing society. Teachers who work extremely hard, creating differentiated lessons to provide every single one of their students the best opportunity for learning possible. In a recent communication from the Board of Education to the Naperville community, it was said in bold letters that the district simply cannot afford to pay their teachers more. But in reality, what is it that this district cannot afford? It cannot afford to lose out on creative and innovative new teachers. It cannot afford to risk losing the already dedicated, hardworking, compassionate, and committed educators by not agreeing to a fair contract. It cannot afford to continue to disrespect the teachers who pour their hearts and souls into this profession in order to make this district everything that it is and everything that it can be. It cannot afford to once again neglect giving the teachers the contract that we are beyond deserving of. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Richard Harris.
Good evening. I cannot claim to be a long-term resident of Naperville, as you can hear, but I am the parent of 3 children who, over 13 years, have had exceptional experiences in District 203, Ann Reed, Riverwoods, Kennedy Junior High, and our 2 surviving children now at Naperville North. During our time, we've had them in the Outstanding Dual Language Program, the PI Plus program, and our daughter who passed received great care and compassion from the team at Kennedy. And today, our 2 children at Naperville North are enjoying the innovative Business Incubator program with Jean Nolan and outstanding teaching in AP Art History from teachers like Jamel Mattis. So there's much to be said that is good. And that is why, in early this year, I was keen to attend the Innovative School program, which is one of the 2 things I want to talk about, because it vanished, quite rightly, on April 21st, around about midnight, partly due to Charles Cush's excellent efforts to get it tabled. But we were promised that we would hear more of it on June 5th, and it is only tonight that it is resurfaced. And now I am an angry community member to hear that it has been surreptitiously stuffed into union negotiations without any of the community involvement that we were promised when it vanished in April 21st. And everything I've heard tonight now makes me wonder about the truthfulness of many of the communications that are sent out to the community. I do want to thank all the teachers for the fantastic job they do. The other thing I'd like to bring to the board's attention is a more recent development of the last few days. My 2 children have been asked to install an app on their phones. It's called Snap Mobile Fundraising. They have been told that it's not mandatory, but it's almost necessary. You really should do it. We highly recommend it, and you will turn over some 20 contacts to it to raise money. If you go on Apple and look at this Snap, you will see that many of the reviews speak about a program where money vanishes into salesmen's pockets who are setting targets. My son heard, after questioning salesmen, that their incentive is 10 to 15%. I understand that the Naperville North football team has raised $80,000. That means that Snap Mobile has taken $12,000 of their donations already for its profits. How did something like this get approved? What is it doing in our community? We teach our children to be independent thinkers, and yet here is a coercive app where teachers and coaches are being told to give children to get it loaded onto their phones, creating uncertainty about where they stand vis-a-vis those teachers. A divisive activity. I do not think the board should let this pass without investigating it urgently and finding out what is going on. I would also like to hear from the board at its next meeting where we actually stand with the innovative so-called school proposal and what the
Time.
community needs to do to get involved. Thank you.
Okay, that will conclude our public comment period. As we finish our public comment period, I want to thank each of our participants on behalf of the whole Board of Education. As a reminder, because the questions raised in public comment address district operational matters, the board has designated our superintendent as the spokesperson for the district as our designee to respond to public comment, and he will apprise the Board of Education accordingly. Again, this will conclude our public comment period. Thank you. I'm sorry, what happened?
You closed public comment. He's asking to speak.
Mr. Berkeley, how are you? Okay, our next speaker will be Ross Berkeley. Good evening and welcome.
Hi, my name is Ross Berkeley. I'm the president of NUEA, speaking on behalf of the organization, but speaking from the heart. All of you in front of me at the dais have heard me speak, and when I prepare a speech, I always script my speech and rehearse my speech. And I always have it in front of me, and as I've now entered into my 40s, in very large text, so I can make sure that I can be articulate. However, over the last couple of weeks, I've gotten really good at speaking off the cuff and on my feet, because I've had an onslaught of media, teachers, and community members asking my opinion, asking for facts, and asking why we're in this position. And so tonight, I'm speaking off the cuff, without notes, and I'm going to speak about none of those things. I'm not going to speak about numbers. I'm not going to speak about CPI. I'm not going to speak about emails. What I'm going to speak about is what I always speak about at the beginning of the school year, and it's relationships. Leadership can be really lonely, and what I've found in the last 6 months, but really the last 3 weeks especially, is how lonely it really, really can be, and how we can lose sight of relationships. And so I'm up here to say that we all need to do better. And I'm not saying that you all need to do better by yourselves. We all need to do better. We're better than this. And one of the things that has come up a lot for me lately has been, why would you do this job? And the reason really is in relationships. It's rooted in relationships. And I'm going to tell you something from a very vulnerable place about why I do this job and why I entered public education. Only a couple of people in this room know my life story, but my daughter's 14. She entered high school last week. Her birthday's in December, mine's in January. When I was about 4 weeks younger than she is right now, I lost both of my parents. My mother from a tragic asthma attack, and my dad was committed to a mental institution for untreated mental illness after leaving the Vietnam War. I was raised by my teachers. I was lucky to have brothers that were 10 years older, so I was provided a place to live, but public educators literally raised me. Mr. Ferrini in my junior year saying, Ross, run your mile and then go practice the piano. I know you need a scholarship. Mrs. Brotmiller pulling me aside during lunch to work on ACT prep because she knew I didn't know how to register for the test, let alone study for it. And then what's been really vulnerable lately is people asking about my dad, not my biological dad, but the person that I call my dad. My dad, Pete Martinez, who was my freshman advisor in college, who's the only father I've really ever known, who was my teacher and knew that I needed some extra tender, loving care as an 18-year-old student entering college and the first person in my family to go to the university, to go to college, to graduate from college. It's about relationships. And right now, there are moments that our students are missing because they're missing relationships, maybe very small moments that we can't even think about. Those moments that I had with Mr. Ferrini or Mr. Martinez or Mrs. Ewers or countless other people for support, because there's so much distraction right now. But We need to do better. We need to get this done. We need to get it over and avoid this distraction. We all need to value these relationships. Lisa, you and I did our principal internships together. Mike, when my wife was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer, you were one of the people that checked in on me all the time when that was going on. Dan, I taught your kids. Mandy, I taught your kids. Melissa, we bonded over volunteerism at Rotary Club. Susan, my family asked for advice on a dress for New Year's Eve for our 20th wedding anniversary for my wife. Leadership's hard. I know it's hard. It's hard for us. It's hard for you. I'm not telling you this is one-sided. I'm telling you we need to value relationships. We need to get this noise done. And we need to get back to reality. And that's our students, because they're going to miss opportunities. There's damage, I know, to kids like me has already been done. We need to get this over with. Thank you.
Okay. Again, this will conclude our public comment period. I will read it once again as a reminder. Because the questions raised in public comment address district operational matters, the board has designated our superintendent as the spokesperson for the district as our designee to respond to public comment and will apprise the Board of Education accordingly. Okay. We have reached the business portion of our meeting. As a reminder to the community, the board understands and has affirmed through our board agreements that it is each individual board member's responsibility to prepare for each meeting. Additionally, we understand that it's our individual responsibility to effectively communicate our concerns either to the superintendent or board president prior to any meeting in a timely manner. Board members have also agreed that avoiding no surprises is paramount in displaying respect for all district administration and the community. In the spirit of no surprises and in accordance with ISB best practices, the board has tasked itself to send questions in advance of each meeting to the superintendent. This practice allows the superintendent to provide the best possible answer for the community. Additionally, it allows for the maximum efficiency during the community's meeting. Those same submitted questions may also be asked in open session, along with new ones that may arise during discussions. If you ask a question, please state if you sent that question ahead of time. Ms. Patton, what time was the email sent to board members alerting us that board docs was loaded and ready for your review, for our review, rather? Sure.
An email was sent and received by all board members on Friday. My apologies. Excuse me, on Thursday, August 14th at 4:15, and I received that it was delivered to all board members.
Thank you. Mr. Bridges, did you receive questions from board members in advance of tonight's meeting?
Yes, I did. I received emails from all 7 board members.
Thank you. Okay. Item 6 on the agenda, monthly reports. So we have a number of reports there for your review. Melissa, question?
I wanted to look at each of the reports.
Which,
I had some questions.
6 monthly reports? Or are you talking 7? 6,
Well,
okay.
6, yeah. 6.01 Treasury report to start with.
Go right ahead.
I don't know if we can bring that up on anything. Maybe I'm asking too much. So our fund balance after the period ending June 30th is, it says 141 million extra. Now, my understanding is that exceeds what our own policy says we will keep in reserve. So my question is, do we have something earmarked for that money? And how long will we let it sit unearmarked or unused if it's against our policy?
Right. So recently, the administration advised the board under policy 420 that it did exceed its fund balance policy and provided recommendations to the board. Some projects to help draw down that balance have included renovation and remodeling at Connections, addition at Naperville North High School, addition at Rancho Elementary School, and then also recently construction of a facility at Transportation. So those are the initial ones. It was also indicated at that time that once we completed the capital improvement review and the facility assessment, we would come back to the board in November and also after the final audited expenses. Mike, is there anything you additionally want to comment about the fund balance number? No. Okay, thank you.
I guess my concern with this is you're mentioning all project capital projects with all that extra money. And I know that one of the things we're tasked with is not only approving the money, but making sure that it's aligned with ultimately with the IASB, ISB, everyone says, and I hope we're all in agreement that our focus should always be on what's best for our students. So I think there's a legitimate question. I am concerned that we are putting this money into capital projects instead of direct services that affect the student outcomes. I feel there's a disconnect there. I'd like to know what my other fellow board members think of this.
If I can first, for the board members, the administration is following the guidance as established and approved by the board under policy 420 that priority will be given to non-recurring expenses as well as consideration for taxpayer relief. So that's what we're doing. So this would really be a board conversation if you want to change your policy.
Yes, I'd like my board members.
Gotcha. Other comments from other board members, please? Joe?
I guess I would argue that a lot of the capital expenditures are improving student experience. Additions at schools are providing space for all of the activities and classrooms that students need. The transportation facility is going to be improving those services for students. So these are all student-aligned, student-centered, and really improving the experience for the students here.
Other questions from other board members? Okay.
I guess what we're saying.
Okay, go ahead, Melissa.
Oh, okay. I guess when we're saying this, when we talk about budgeting, the IASB and ISB, there is a distinct difference. Because one of the things we're tasked with doing, as I said before, is we're supposed to make sure that the money we're spending is aligned. And if we're saying it's for the, measurable improvements to our students, direct services provide a bigger bang for the buck. Now, I'm not saying that nice facilities aren't, but they're not recognized as those services that directly impact, that are in our classrooms. And I just think that's a conversation we need to have as a community and as a board, is to where are our priorities? Is it those direct, the classroom resources that directly impact the kids? The other thing that they tell us to do is, how are we measuring that? We're supposed to be accountable. There's supposed to be measurements. So they tell you when you go to like the IASB seminars or you take their webinars, they say, you know what? Every time you have money and you're spending it, you should earmark and you should have to say, how will we know this is impacting our students? What are we expecting? And, what are we getting out of our money? And I think that I just want to ensure that we say that it's students. Are we measuring that? And is capital projects, are you really going to say that that's as impactful to have a nice facility as much as maybe classroom services?
Amanda?
I I would say yes as well, because I had the opportunity to be the board liaison at Steeple Run before they put on the addition, and board liaison for Ranch View before they had the addition put on. And when I was given tours, I was seeing kids and teachers trying to work out of closets and like literally having serious space issues. And the data showing that the enrollment growth in those areas for those particular schools was increasing. It wasn't going down. And you know, a lot of the parents at home and school and the teachers and the principals that I talked to were just like, this is a real issue. How can we have teachers working out of closets and stuff like that, or have special ed working in the teachers lounge? Like PI classes in teachers lounges. That's not good working environment, right? And so I was very proud to use this money that is not, it's not consistent money. It's like a savings account, right? You know, that to be able to invest in these resources to provide better classrooms and situations for our teachers and our students to be able to learn in an environment where they thrive. I think our teaching environments are very important. Coming from Ohio schools, they're much better here. Okay. Not to dish Ohio, sorry. But anyways, and then likewise, you know, we just talked about the transportation thing. When you have one bathroom for 100 employees and, you know, like really bad situations with that, I mean, that is an investment in our bus drivers who are literally the first people that see our kids every single day. So to me, yes, because also this funding isn't something that comes in consistently, right? You know what I mean? It's not like I don't want to use it when I know it's eventually going to run out. So that's my perspective.
Other comments from other board members? Christine?
I mean, we've had the conversation around the physical spaces many times. I would also say that when I think about the mobile units that we're able to eliminate, the safety and security of both staff and students, I don't really know how you would put a price tag on that. And being able to, we've heard from the community for several years just on that topic alone that, excuse me, that the mobiles were not desirable in any way, shape, or form. And we recognize that too, both as a board and as administration. So I do believe the money spent on capital improvements does impact student experience and student achievement. It's been said by my other colleagues. Safe spaces that are conducive to learning. I think about having spaces where students' privacy might need to be respected, you know, due to different needs that they may have. I mean, that's all important. It's not I don't believe that's a want. I believe that capital improvements are in the need bucket.
Yes, Melissa.
Okay, so the pot, we only have so much money, so much has to come out of this pot. I'm going to tell you right now what I'm concerned about. I am just as concerned that if you're telling me, and the messages to the community and myself read, we're coming into financial times, we're looking at cutting staff and services. How do I justify that? You mean those nicer facilities? Yes, I'm not diminishing. No one wants to work. I used to be a teacher with a trolley. I had to switch classrooms. But it's a matter of, it's not like we have to choose either or sometimes. We have to make the tough decisions. And I have a hard time swallowing a $17 million transportation facility when we've already leased across the street. There's other options. Do I want these capital projects at the cost of staff cuts and services?
Joe?
Yeah, I believe the fund balance is designated for one-time expenses, not ongoing expenses, and it's something that has built up over many years, probably decades, and we've been fortunate over the past few years. I mean, the markets have been just they keep going up, right? And we've been able to ride that wave. That's not going to happen forever, right? So once that money runs out, it's not going to be there anymore. So these are for, I believe, one-time purchases, single expenses.
Melissa.
One thing I keep hearing over and over again is the fund balance has to be spent on a one-time. If you go back and review that policy, it doesn't specify that it has to be. There was a notation that there's a preference for that, but it is not. And if I'm wrong, next meeting, please bring it up to me because I want to learn. It's not about proving or any of that. As far as the going back, yeah, for over the years, we're getting that fund balance. 98% of that money is not from investments. Our funding is coming from the taxpayers. So again, I would argue that the value of our homes in our city is, built on our schools. So I think our schools are a great investment. That's why I chose to do this job. But again, I want to clarify, we are not required to use that fund balance on a one-time deal. And I wonder about those taxpayers that, again, we have to go back. If we have to allocate it, what are we allocating it to? Thank you.
Okay. So I will just say to, unless there's other comments, Superintendent Bridges mentioned that you said is it November the time frame? October, November. So there have already been some recommended uses from administration for the fund balance. It's my understanding that Superintendent Bridges is going to come back in October-November timeframe to talk about some other potential uses for that. Is that accurate? Okay. And so then at that time, we can make a determination as to whether or not, because those will be brought forward as recommendations for potential approval, correct? Right. So that will be an opportunity for us to revisit that once the administration comes back with recommendations. We can then vote. That'll be an item. Obviously, we'd have to vote on those things.
Okay, my only is that, again, we might be thinking about how we might use that money maybe to solve immediate problems. And then as far as getting back to what I would like to see, one of the things that frustrates me, and I think we heard it tonight, was I understand the administration is going to come back with some recommendations. That's great. But I also want to hear the community. Are we going to get the community's input? They overpaid, essentially. So are we going to get their opinion of how they want it spent? How are we going to get community input?
So I want to hear from our fellow board members. Is that something that we want to solicit or direct administration to look into? Joe?
I look forward to the report in October and November.
Okay. All right. Seeing no other comments, item 6.02, investments. Questions from the board? Melissa.
All right. I didn't know how quite this works. I was looking over and I realized on the Education Fund Investment Portfolio Statement that we've carried a lot of bonds. But I've realized if you go and you look under your net total losses and then you scan and you see unrealized losses, I noticed that we have these unrealized losses. We're holding bonds until they mature. And typically what happens with a bond is at the end of its life, it doesn't have the same return. I had a question as to, is it our policy to wait till the bonds mature? Or is there someone watching the bond and do we have a plan in place to sell the matured bonds before they diminish at the end of their life?
Yeah, we have an investment advisor that has our long-term portfolio, which you're looking at here with the education fund and the health fund. They apprise the board twice a year on any sales or makeup of the portfolio, and they do at times sell securities based on duration, market makeup between agencies, treasuries, and those types of investments, municipal bonds, and they don't always hold them to maturity. It depends on the conversation with the school board and the direction, the overall direction of the investment policy and the makeup of the funds. Some of the investments you see there are listed at zero because those were sold during the year. So there's a mix of all those things. Now, the actual value of the investment goes up or down with the market. So when it, are you going to?
No. The only reason I'm saying that is I'm not sure you understood my question. I was speaking just about the bonds themselves, not about, and I have to actually give you credit that it is a diversified portfolio, that we do have some securities. So my question was really just about the bonds, because they act, usually those two are inverse.
The bond values would change also with the market. And as interest rates went up or down, if we buy a long-term bond a few years ago at say a 2 or 3 at the time, you could buy something at 2 or 3%, would have been a good return. As rates go up, the bond that you're holding goes down in value.
Yeah.
So that would reflect. It would look on paper like it's a loss.
Yeah, that exactly.
Now
what I was
it's still
mentioning.
yielding the interest that we bought it at on a semi-annual basis, and if we hold it to maturity, we will get 100% of that principal back.
Okay,
So-
I just want to point out that, yes, I was talking about those net total losses. If you look, it's almost $700,000. So I guess that's why I just want to make sure that we have a plan in place, especially with interest rates possibly going up. Then moving on, my other question as far as this was I just wanted to know, I noticed that a lot of our securities are being held, they're long-term. Some of them even extend out to 2040. Is this a concern, twofold? Is it a concern to have so much money tied up for so long? And number two, do we have penalties if we do not take them that far? If we cash them, say we need the liquid cash for something. We've talked about that we might be needing cash coming up. Is there a penalty for cashing these in before they're due?
I don't know all the specific details on every specific investment that's listed on this page. However, if you sell a security before maturity, it's going to be priced at what the value is at the time.
I'm not talking about,
I'm
because
not
I
sure what
think
you're
there's a
talking
difference
about
between
then.
about securities. Securities are different. I'm going back to some of these bonds.
We don't
A
own
security-
individual stocks, so when I say securities,
It's not
I mean,
stock, it's not securities, it's bonds. Those are totally separate entities. So I guess that's where I feel like you're veering. I'm talking just about the bonds, because securities, you're not locked into. But, all right, I think I don't want to argue anymore. I think that's just, I brought it up, and I just
So
want to
if I
specify.
may, we get I think Mr. Francis mentioned, is it twice a year? Yeah, we have a PMA, who, if you notice at the top of this list, that's our asset management company that we contract. They come in and they give us an update, and so they can walk through all the details of all of this. Any questions you'd like to send ahead, we can do that. You can ask them questions when they come in. Superintendent Bridges just informed me that that's happening at sometime in the September-October timeframe. So we'll make sure that there's awareness of when that will be in plenty of time, so folks will know exactly when we can dig into this a little bit more deep. Because
Thank
they
you.
would be better
Fair
they
enough.
would be better suited to be able to answer specific questions about why a particular asset is being held or not. Fair?
Okay, because then I had questions with the other reports.
Okay, so wait, so are
We
we
can go
done
to
with
the
this
next one,
report?
yes.
Okay, so we're moving to item 6.03, insurance report.
No, we
Oh.
still have reports under that is what I'm just saying.
Okay. So let's, can we save all the investments for when, because for when PMA, and we can have that discussion all together? And then I'm assuming you may have questions on 6.03, because I think at the beginning you said you had questions on all of them. So can we move to 6.03? Okay, very good. All right. So 6.03, questions from the board? Melissa?
Health insurance fund report. Am I correct in that, wait, this is also with the same, do you want to just talk about this? This is the same type of, this is about the fund. Do we want to talk about distributions, my only question with this was I see that our distributions exceed our total receipts. Is that correct?
For the year ending June, that's correct, yes.
Yeah, so we outspent. So I guess my thought on just bringing that up is just being cognizant of that's something that we have to keep in mind in this entire situation is I think it's been relatively flat, but that can change. Why do you think that is? That we have had more claims? Is that traditionally like this?
Claims are individual,
Or disbursements, I should
the majority of the disbursements are claims that are we're a self-funded insurance plan. So the claims are directly the cost of the medical services for our employees and their dependents. Those are the claims. I can't speak to, we recently had if a child is born prematurely or someone gets diagnosed with cancer, those add to the cost on a monthly basis or an annual basis. We can't necessarily predict those things.
Okay, and then I was just, my only other question would be going back when we talked to the investment group about, again, making sure we have liquid assets, the availability to get the assets out. Thank you.
So again, just to circle back on that, I'm sure there'll be some questions you'll have, but I would encourage the other board members as well in advance of when the investment group comes in. Let's just make sure we're getting questions in so they can be prepared to answer them, obviously recognizing that they will be able to be prepared to answer questions in person as well. So, okay, item 6.04. Questions from the board? Melissa?
There is a transportation budget variance of over $1 million. I just wondered, was that due to we didn't get reimbursements, or what exactly would be the difference?
Can you tell me directly what you're...
It's the Fund 40 under budget variance. In the red, you'll see $1,159,822. And
oh, it's a revenue variance.
yeah.
Well, you said a budget variance.
I'm sorry, I'm using the term wrong. Yes, revenue. So is it that we did not, why was there the variance? Did we not get, I know things with the state or getting money maybe that were owed might not have come through, or I was just wondering what that $1 million difference was.
That was a reduction in state transportation aid that we receive quarterly through categorical reimbursements for regular and special education transportation based on no increases at the state level for funding and a decrease in as we talked about in April, I talked about potential issues at the state level in funding. The prorations keep getting cut deeper and deeper. This is a result of that. So we budgeted, that budget was originally passed or presented to the board in May of 2024, prior to the state passing a budget, and subsequent to the state passing a budget and the State Board of Education figuring out exactly what each school district gets reimbursed, we had over budgeted what we actually collected. That's the difference in that particular line item.
And was that also, I'm going to kind of assume, but I should just ask, that that might be also the cafeteria variance of over $1 million?
That's not all cafeteria because we are still in an accrual period. Currently, we still, some revenue that's coming in, even this week and next week, is attributable to FY25. Some of those could be reimbursements for National School Lunch Program. A lot of federal revenue comes in the summertime, especially in July and August, that's attributable to the year before. So when we get our audit report, you'll see a difference in cafeteria and in federal revenue for IDEA, which we had some receipts recently.
Thank you. Going down under Fund 60, capital projects, there was a budget variance of almost 7,000. Do we know what that was?
That would be almost 6.7 million. Are you talking about the expenditures? Yeah, again, that if the board recalls, we did at the end of the fiscal year 24, the board transferred, I believe it was $50 million for a variety of projects, which included connections, the work, some addition at Naperville North, along with the turf field, and addition at Ranchview. That was, and then when we passed the budget, we anticipated that of that 50 million, we would be spending, again, this was an estimate, 10 million during the 12-month period from July 1st to June 30th. We spent more than that. So we didn't overspend any budget. Just in this 12-month period, we spent more than we had originally anticipated in spending on these particular projects in this period.
And I'm going to assume this wouldn't include the additional transportation that we approved.
The transportation work is still in its infancy. There's been no, maybe a few architect expenses on that, but there's no cost in that. You won't see any cost until later this year. We'll either bring a budget amendment for those costs and any transfers that are needed to cover those costs, but those are not included in here.
But I'm just mentioning that because we're almost 167% over now, and then if we're adding to this,
But we're not 167%. We're 167% over on the 12-month period.
Yeah.
What I tried to explain was that the Board of Education authorized $50 million worth of transfers, of which we've spent 16.6 million.
mm-hmm. But we're then going to be looking at more projects too.
That's correct. The board recently approved the project for the transportation center, as well as some work at Kennedy Junior High.
Okay, then going to, let's see, fund balance. So going to the capital projects on the next part of the fund balance, we also see those red numbers under capital projects. Could you explain that again?
What part would you like explanation on?
Well, typically red's not good. So is there a reason why are these skewed from what we expected?
That particular graph shows you what the approved budget change was going to be. So for instance, capital projects had budgeted $1.4 million in revenue. If you scroll back up, it was $1.4 million in revenue,
Mm-hmm.
which is investment income, and $10 million of expenses for those projects that we just mentioned. That would lead to an $8.6 million reduction in that fund's fund balance. The results of the pre-audit change for June 30th was a $10 million reduction, leaving $41.7 million in that fund.
Okay. So if we move on to the all funds summary, month to date. Let me look at my notes. Basically, it's just pointing out again that we have healthy reserves and we're over the policy, which we've already stated. I wanted to know, I noticed that there was a switch, if we look under benefits. I want to, and specifically, if we look down the purchase services, were they more than we expected, or can you explain a little about purchase services?
I don't know. I didn't have time to research this particular item. This is showing all funds in a different format by type of expense. The additional expenses in the capital projects fund, like you mentioned, we spent almost 17 million on a budget of 10. We'd include purchase services and capital outlay, which would lead to additional expenses in those two areas. We could break this report out, not including capital projects, for a better view on what happened in each individual fund.
Yes, that's what I've been asking for. Remember before we did the budgets, I asked that we had it broken down so we could see what it was under each more than, because my understanding is right now we get these reports, we get the budget, we get the audit, we get the bills and claims, but we don't get that broken down of how the more detailed. Not that we're to decide the budgets, but to oversee and see exactly where this money's going. Because if we look at, let's go to our expenses dashboard for this, educational operational maintenance. I'm concerned because I see what we spent in support, business support services and school admin support services. You add those two together, we spent $90 million. However, and that's 25% of the spending that we did. Now, you compare that, if you look under special education or remedial programs, we've spent about 40 million. So we've spent over double on business services and admin services versus the at-risk students. This is again where I'm wondering, are we aligned that we have admin spending,
So-
that we're more than doing double, and with
Right.
kids,
So
can I finish?
let Mike clarify what goes in each of those line items. I think that's what he's about to say. And
Yeah,
then
I
if your
think
question haven't
the
gotten
title
answered,
of that particular item is misleading. We can get you a breakdown of exactly what that 73, obviously we don't spend $73 million in the business office.
But that's what it says. So why would it say something? This is what I make my decisions as a board member. This is what we show our community.
You're not making a decision on this. This is a report for
No,
review.
every decision I make.
We'll get a
today-
breakdown of
Finish a second, please.
we'll get a breakdown of those individual costs that make more sense with the titles that are attributable.
Then
to
maybe
those.
I need to say this in a different way. One of the things that I've been trying to say over and over again, each meeting in one form or the other, is to know those specific breakdowns. And I, over and over again, cannot get those documents. And I'm always told, next time we'll give them to you. I don't receive them. Yes, you might not think I make decisions today based upon these numbers, but I very much do. We just had a closed door. We're facing a strike. We're talking about cutting student services and staff. You don't think I looked at these numbers? You don't think that that factored into many of my decisions today? So yes, I'd like to make sure it's accurate. And if it needs to be broken down, I would agree with you. That would be very helpful to see exactly what those are. But to say the numbers I'm looking at aren't accurate means you're not giving me an accurate report.
Okay, so Mr. Francis said that he
I
would
didn't say
provide.
they were inaccurate.
Right.
And I would like to remind the board that on a monthly basis, the board reviews all bills and claims, and all of the bills and claims that the board reviews on a monthly basis are included in all of those numbers.
We'll get to that.
Including the $73 million listed under business services.
So if I heard you correctly, Mr. Francis said that he can provide a detailed breakdown of what goes into 73 million. And so we can, I'll look to administration to determine when we can
Charles?
get that.
Wait, I just want to follow up real quick with this. there's a continuous issue, and I really don't want to come and fight. You know, we talked a lot with unity. Can we have in board docs the week at, like for our next board meeting, have those documents, any documents that we just, any of us requested or there was a dispute on, have them added to there. That way we're not arguing about, I got the document, I didn't get the document.
Right.
Would that be a way to add some accountability?
So what I would suggest is, since Mr. Francis offered to do that this time around, we can do that. Then all the board members can look at it and we can determine if that's something that we as a board want to receive on an ongoing basis. Because that would be something that we would be tasking administration to do. And so therefore, we can all have a look at it and we can all determine whether or not we think it's valuable collectively to get that level of detail on a monthly basis.
Okay.
So I would suggest
I'd
that,
like to address your comment. I'd like to have a
no,
chance to
wait,
respond.
but the comment, see, here's the thing. You said you don't want to argue, and I agree with you.
No, but I
Mr.
want
Francis
to
is
finish
going
my
to provide.
statement. It's respect.
Mr. Francis is going to, just let me finish. Mr. Francis is going to provide
Mr. Francis
detailed
told me this on
information.
numerous occasions and didn't, but I don't. Can I finish my statement?
But are you suggesting that he's not going to provide the information?
I'm
that
saying
just said
he
would?
hasn't in the past when he
And
said he would.
said he would this time around, so therefore that's the case. So, okay, so.
All right.
I
There was something you said directly.
Can you finish? Can you let me finish?
Sure.
And then I'll recognize you once again.
Okay, great.
Hold on a second. So I was suggesting that we would follow that process. Mr. Francis would provide that. We can all then take a look at it because we need to make sure if we're going to task staff with providing an additional layer of information, that it is something that we collectively as a board would like to see. I think that's a good process to follow. Okay, go ahead.
The problem with that process, and this is what we've discussed before, is by that theory, the board decides what information all board members have access to. But I don't think the board has the ability, if we are tasked with the fiduciary duty, the IASB, we talk to them ourselves, every penny spent is the responsibility of this board. So I have a hard time understanding if my job as a fiduciary duty is to know where the spending's going, can my fellow board members decide they don't want that information so I can't have it? Wouldn't that go against the law?
Holly.
I want to break this up into two things. The first, I do have a concern about calling out and directing comments at our staff. We have a board agreement regarding public comment that we shouldn't be treated that way. And I would just like to say, I hope we can treat all of our staff with the same respect. You follow our directives and provide this information to us. I'm very grateful for it. But I would just ask board members to treat our staff and cabinet the same way we ask people with public comment to treat us and our staff. Pausing there, but then my second thought was, got a little lost in there because there was a lot in there. One of them was that we have previously discussed that we would, have a motion and take a vote if there's something we do want additional effort and work by staff to provide information to us. And I think as part of our fiduciary duty, that is a reason that needs to be a motion that we all vote on so that we are not using too many staff resources without a consensus of the board.
I understand if we're asking for additional information that is going to task the board. However, I don't believe the board is empowered to decide and vote themselves on whether the board members have the information they need to do their fiduciary duty. And if we're responsible for the money, knowing where that money comes from, the questions I asked are very much within that privy. Not only that, we are taught by the IASB and ISB to be looking at this so that we are doing a fiduciary duty. So I don't think we can impede fellow board members from their fiduciary duty.
Other. Okay. Item 7, action by consent. Item 7.0, item 7.01, bills and claims. So this month, I had the opportunity to review bills and claims and sat down with Michelle. I actually had the opportunity to sit with Holly as well as a new board member. She shadowed me on this. And just wanted to, again, Mike, please pass along our thank you to Michelle. She does an excellent job chasing down the items that we have questions on and making sure that we have good answers to all of the questions that we asked. Holly, any comments from you on it's your first time through the process, so go ahead.
Yeah, this was my first time, and I was really grateful to Michelle and her fast response to all of our questions. And we go through the entire list, all of the checks, come up with a list of what we have questions on, and she has the files with every paper, every signature, every receipt for those things that we were asking about the next morning. And then when we met on Friday, we had additional questions on a few things. That afternoon, we had an email answering all of our questions. So it was one thing previously to see it in board docs and to see every one of these expenses, but now to see a funny name, not know what it is, and find out that is where we get our cow's eyeballs for dissection. I wouldn't have identified that source, but it was great to know where these things come from. And so that every single expense that we have, we can go through and see that. And then Michelle provides us with the context. She knows every level, probably the name of every person in the district having had these expenses go through. She was a wealth of knowledge, and it was just a really wonderful experience I was grateful to take part in. So thank you, Mike, and pass that on to Michelle as well.
Okay. I will ask, are there any items that need to be pulled off the consent agenda?
Yes, can we vote for each one separately, please?
So you want to pull all of them?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, then I will make a motion for item 7.01, bills and claims. And with that, I move approval of warrant number...
Wait, I have my hands up.
Oh, so, okay, thank you. So I'll make the motion, and then if you have questions, I'll ask if there's any discussion. All right, so I move approval of warrant number 1070229 through 1070750 and warrant number 900000129 through 900000127, totaling $43,082,113.16 for the period of July 15th, 2025 to August 18th, 2025.
Second.
Motion second have been heard. Any discussion?
Okay. So, again, one of my frustrations is the concept. I've carried this around with me. So, when they talk about budgeting and they teach you this, there's a whole book, the laws. Under the first section for the Administrative Code 100 in the very beginning, section 100.30, general recommendations, requirements, not recommendations. Under D, first sentence, each school board shall, not may, use the account codes assigned by the state superintendent of education. I would like this entered into the minutes that I have brought this before. It says my board members don't want to use these codes, but it is required by law to use those codes. Not only that, so if there's any doubt, I've
I'm
carried
sorry.
this around.
When you say use the codes for what? When they're
For
reported
budgeting.
out?
I
Okay.
guess.
So, Mr. Francis, would you like to speak to that,
I
please?
would like to finish what I'm saying, first of all. If you could let me finish, I'd appreciate it. So the other thing is, not only is this in the law, there are 3 classes, as our new board members know, that you are required to take within the first 3. There are 3 classes within the first year that you have to take as a new board member. So the legislation, the IASB, ISB, all got together and said, these are what absolutely every board member in the state of Illinois should know how to do. And in that, and there's even like a quiz at the end, they have to, after the completion of those 3 classes, they have to show a certificate. That certificate has to be on file at our school district. So they are taught how this coding system is used. So what's frustrating to me is this is school board. It's in the law. There's a booklet. It's clear as day that will use this. If you do any webinars, any seminars, conferences, and you talk about budgeting, you are to use this. And the reason we use it, why am I insisting that we use this? It's for the very reason that the makers, the legislators, and ISB and the IASB thought this was so important. It's for transparency. It's so when we look at the bills and claims that the public, everyone can, no matter what district you're in Illinois, you can clearly see what you're looking at. So I'm asking that we consider using, this is hard for me to bump my head when I can show you the law. I showed you laws last time I came in, different laws stating the same thing. It's in the ISB classes. If you go on the website right now, there'll be a slideshow showing you this. When you click on a webinar with IASBA.
Okay, Melissa, can
So I'm just
I
saying.
I have what you. I'm just looking at what you just handed
No, I'm
through
not.
me.
I'm just saying
So I just
that
I have
it
a question
seems-
for you about it. Can I ask you a question?
Yes,
Okay.
go ahead.
So okay. I'm reading through this. There's one area highlighted on here. So what I would suggest is that we can take a look and understand what it is that you've provided, and then make a determination as to whether or not, because I guess let me just clarify my question for you. My question for you is, are you suggesting that we are not following the appropriate guidelines for how we are doing our budgeting? Is that what you were suggesting?
That if we're not following that law right there, if we're not using that coding,
But is that what you're
my
suggesting is currently
understanding
happening?
Is that we need. Can you read that statement to the group and see if how they interpret that statement?
No, we can
There's no-
we can
it
circulate
says
it
shall.
around. It's first of all, it's one page out of a full document. It's
Charles,
one
I
line
have
out
been
of one
carrying
page out of a
that
full document.
the entire document around.
I'm not disputing
and
that you've been carrying it
it's not my
around.
job to educate you on the laws. You, quite frankly, should know the coding. And that I take that back. That wasn't stated very nicely. I take that back. But I do have a level of frustration.
But my question, my only question is, okay, so if we want to resolve this, there are experts that can resolve this. And so what I would suggest is that we you've submitted this, you've asked for it to, that's fine, we can look at this, and then we can get a determination. But I want to understand, are you saying that you do not believe, based on what you've been able to determine and what you've been carrying around for however
And
long you
there's
said you've been
other-
carrying,
yes.
fine, are you suggesting that there are guidelines that are not being followed?
Maybe this is
because
a
we
better
can answer
question.
that question. We can determine whether or not the guidelines that this is intended to portray are actually being followed or not. There's an answer to that question.
Okay.
So if that's I think that
can
if
ask
you don't
the
believe,
question right now. Do
if
we
you
as
don't-
a school board use those codes?
Mike, do we as a school board use those
No,
codes?
no, I'm not talking. I'm talking school board, not administration. They use it, but as school board members, when we look at budgets, do we know how the coding works?
Okay. Fellow board members, any other commentary? Amanda?
I am not a budget person. I'm not a fiscal person. It's the administration's job to follow the law.
No,
and
it's our job too to follow the law,
Right.
and that's the law.
Melissa, I
Okay,
just
so
asked
are
if
you?
could- just let
What
Amanda
I'm
finish, please.
what I'm trying to understand, Melissa, is, are you saying that our fiscal department's not following the law?
I am not saying that. I'm saying answer that question. Do we as board members? The reason, okay, so let me back up, Amanda.
Wait, okay.
Amanda, maybe this is better because you're really good at
Let-
clarifying things.
Let her,
Can
let
you
her,
please?
let her finish.
No, let her-
Let
go
her
ahead.
finish.
Let me be the summarizer. Go ahead.
Okay.
Let's
Yes,
go.
you are a good supervisor, so I will say that. The reason the codes are important, the reason is, Amanda, is that when you and I look at that list of all that stuff, we don't necessarily know. And yes, my understanding is we just pick out some stuff that looks like our anomalies and we ask. That's not really efficient in budgeting. So the reason they require school boards to use this, not just the administrators, is that so when we read documents, that everyone has it in the same form, so we know we don't have to ask them whose eyeballs are this. So when you get a bills and claims, we're not just randomly, each board member doing it in a different way. This way, we can see what's coming out of what fund and what was bought with it. And the reason this is so important is it's bills and claims are really our way. We talked earlier of looking at these big reports. So these big reports, they're really big. We don't know. So when it says, if there's an issue with the business services and the admin services being more than double special ed, that tells one picture. But I think we can all agree it's not the whole picture. So the reason they have that you break it down is we can look at what exactly was that they bought with it. It's an easy way to just look at it and know. And then you, like, say you do bills and claims and you ask about the eyeballs.
I think I got it.
Okay.
Okay, can I try?
Sorry.
Okay. First of all, let me just start by saying that I really appreciate how you're really kind of diving in deep and really you take your fiduciary duty very seriously. No one can negate that, right? And so what I'm hearing you say is that when you're looking at bills and claims, you want to see the codes connect from the individual purchases to the larger budget item, budget category, right? That's what you're saying?
So that way, I'm not dependent on just asking somebody to find out. And then because we each rotate isn't the best approach. Because if we each rotate, we just do it a couple times a year. What's really would be better is if we had some kind of committee or we had somebody who each time would know. Because if I see transportation is $4 million this bills and claims, I don't know, are we spending $4 million every month? Or is this something that just comes, we don't get used to the patterns and trends. And so much of this is patterns and trends. And then once we get a better feel of what these big numbers mean, we can make better decisions on what those big numbers mean. So we're making sure our fiduciary duty, the reason they say we use this is so we are getting those details, because it's not just saying we okay the spending, it's saying our job is kind of like the oversight to make sure that things are, we're like the extra set of eyes to make sure things aren't being doubled. So to really have a good idea of that, you want to see those trends and patterns, you want to see specifics, and you want whoever's doing this month after month to be able to watch that and trend it. It's just
So understand so what you're saying is if we're only doing it once or twice a year, that we might not be able to see the patterns as if we were doing it on a regular basis.
And that's part of what the reason we do it is to catch
So this is your biggest concern about that, and then also just making sure that the way that it's presented to us aligns with like how the funding is and that kind of stuff, right? Okay?
And then,
Okay.
my frustration, as you see,
Yeah.
my passion
Yeah.
is because, like I said, this is being framed of I'm asking for something extra, and I think the frustration has been for me to be going to these, taking my time, energy, and many times my own money to go to these, become knowledgeable, have it be a law, but then have that not acknowledged as if the board can just say we don't want to use the code.
So I think for me, it's not about we don't want to.
No, I said the
right?
wrong wording. I
Yeah.
said that.
Okay. Right. What I think is, what I would rather do is ask in a level of understanding, right? Of like, I see this, but I don't understand it in this process. Can you please explain it to me, how it's used fiscally and how we can represent it as a board, right? That's a very different strategy than being like, because like originally it did sound like you were accusing us of not following fiscal law.
Okay, I always really appreciate this, and I have to say that in the past, I didn't always appreciate some of the microaggressions or other things I've seen while speaking up here, and that you're taking the time and being patient with me. I think that demonstrates exactly what those people said today, is that you're modeling what we would want with our students in that communication. So I thank you for that. The reason, it's like this. Somebody told me the example of like your kid. It's like when you ask them to pick up something the first time and the second time and the third, and each time you ratchet it up what you're saying and you get maybe more pointed. Part of that is that I've been trying to get a resolution on this, and I've just gotten shoved off.
So you're not feeling like you're being heard. Now, I also just want to be really sensitive to time because it's 10:30 p.m.
Okay, yeah,
and we haven't even gotten to
I'm
this consent agenda yet. And my brain literally shuts off at 9. So I'm surprised I'm still able to articulate. So to be sensitive to all of our administrators, some of them have to drive very long. Can we move forward? And, but I think they're hearing.
Right now.
Okay, thank you.
There's no voting on any, you can't vote on something not on your agenda. So,
Bills and claims.
okay, sorry, my apologies. Thank you. Yeah, I guess the answer to the question is, you know, and again, we could debate this fact or what, but a lot of the operational tasks of a school district are delegated to the administration that is hired by the board to.
This is how the reports are reported. So
Yep.
I think we should table this.
And so we have our audits don't have any findings of anything wrong with how we use our budget accounts. Our ROE compliance, which one of the duties is to ensure compliance with law in all aspects of our operations. Again, no findings. Mr. Francis in the office uses all state
Dan,
required
please don't
codes.
extend this. You're extending the argument.
Melissa,
Amanda
Melissa,
wanted it to end.
Melissa,
Do you want to keep
Melissa,
arguing it?
Melissa,
Okay, I can.
Melissa, can you get, no, I would just want you to let the superintendent finish because he was in the middle of speaking. You were not recognized.
We as a board said we wanted to table this or some of it. Maybe
no.
we should have that conversation. But if to reopen
Melissa, he was in
is
the,
this what
Melissa,
the board wants? Do we want to
Melissa,
reopen it or maybe talk another day?
Melissa, he was in the middle of speaking. And if you put your hand back up afterwards.
Disrespectful to go on and continue an argument. We were ready to vote
And
on.
Melissa, it was also not a good thing to interrupt. He was in the middle of saying something that was answering the very question, the very essence
No,
of the
it's
question
reopening
that we're
the
trying to get
argument,
back.
which I was thinking that
I-
we're tired. We wanted to move on.
I did not see that anyone was offended by the fact that he was just explaining where we landed on this, because we're trying to figure out what we're doing with the document that you handed to me and how we're going to address that, which I assume you still want addressed.
Yes, and I
Okay,
thought we could take
and
a
so
vote.
he was doing that. We have already had a motion and a second on that, so we will take a vote on the bills and claims for this week, this meeting. But we need to also understand, and he was providing some context as to what's going on.
And then
We can take
I may
this,
want to comment after
everyone
he's
will look
done.
at it. Everyone will look at it. You just said that you didn't want to extend it.
Yeah, so if he extends it, what I'm saying is you give two sides. It's a give and take. Like
debate.
Amanda demonstrated a very great.
We're not having a debate here. So
We're very much. That's our job. Here.
No, it's not. No,
that's
not on
what
this
you
topic.
say, Charles. But that doesn't mean. And I'm going to go back to this. Isn't how we should do it. We had an agreement to move on, discuss it at another time, and then we're going to drag it out. And then you're going to say, okay, this person gets to extend their comments.
Melissa.
But then I would like the chance to comment after that, if that's okay.
So you want the last word on the matter?
No, somebody else could even say something.
Okay.
Christine.
Does anyone else want to say something?
Yeah, I want to do a point of order.
Point of
Well,
order? Upheld. We're moving on.
No,
That's what that
Charles, I
means.
don't
Am
think
I
you know
wrong
what
about
that
that?
means. There's a lot of them.
Was that what that means?
Okay. So what I'm saying is one of the things we talked about in the community said,
Melissa,
I've been
Melissa, as
Do you know what it means,
chair of the meeting, first of all, I find your comment very condescending. So as chair of the meeting,
factual. Do you know what it means?
as chair, I still find it condescending. My point is, as chair of the meeting, you just said we want to move on. There's a vote in a second. There's a vote and a second. So a motion and a second have been heard, right? So please call the roll, Mrs. Patton.
wait, are we following parliamentary rules or not?
Kuzminski,
Okay.
Aye.
Kelly Black,
Nay.
Macmillan,
Aye.
Walensky,
Aye.
Gerke,
Aye.
Plastic,
Aye.
Kush.
Aye. The motion passes. Item 7.02, adoption of the personnel report. Questions from the board? Melissa.
I have a comment.
Oh.
I just wanted to say I was happy to see that we have one of our returning, a student from the district has been now on there. We've hired her back. So I want to say thank you. I think that's great. That goes with that, grow our own.
Would you like to have the honor of making the motion then?
Somebody else could do it. I mean,
Okay.
Motion to approve item 7.02, adoption of personnel report.
Second.
Motion and a second have been heard. Please call the roll, Mrs. Patton.
Macmillan.
Aye.
Kuzminski.
Aye.
Plastic.
Aye.
Kush.
Aye.
Gerke.
Aye.
Kelly Black.
aye.
Walensky.
Aye.
The motion passes. Item 7.03, board meeting minutes from July 14th as well as from August 4th. Questions from the board?
We can vote.
Motion to approve item 7.03, Board of Education meetings 7:14 and 7:20. Oh, 7:14 and 8:04. Can I do 7:04 as well? Closed meeting?
No.
Okay, just the 7:03 then.
Second.
Motion and second have been heard. Please call the roll, Mrs. Patton.
Cush,
Aye.
Kelly Black,
Abstain.
Plastic,
Aye.
Walensky,
Aye.
Kuzminski,
Aye.
McMillan,
Aye.
Gerke.
Aye.
The motion passes. Item 7.04, closed meeting minutes from July 14th and from August 4th. Questions from the board?
On the closed door minutes, I think that the minutes have to have enough information that board members, the documents should all be loaded that we discussed during the closed door minutes while we're having these meetings. And I think there should be enough information there that somebody can go back and know what we talked about so they know how we came to the conclusions we came to.
Your recommendation is noted. Other comments from the board? I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve item 7.04, closed meeting minutes 7:14 and 8:04.
Second.
Motion and second have been heard. Please call the roll, Mrs. Patton.
Gerke,
Aye.
Plastic,
Aye.
Kuzminski,
Aye.
Cush,
Aye.
Walensky,
Aye.
McMillan,
Aye.
Kelly Black.
Nay.
The motion passes. Item 7.05, health insurance updates. Questions from the board?
Motion to approve item 7.05, health insurance updates.
Second.
Motion and second have been heard. Please call the roll, Mrs. Patton.
Cush,
Aye.
McMillan,
Aye.
Kuzminski,
Aye.
Kelly Black,
Aye.
Plastic,
Aye.
Walensky,
Aye.
Gerke.
Aye.
The motion passes. Okay, item 8, communications. There are a number of FOIA requests that are in item 8.01 for review and review. Item 8.02, Board of Education reports. Does anyone on the board have a,
Amanda does.
hold on, let me get my little blurb here. Got it. Yeah, does anybody on the board want to give a brief update on something they've done in their official capacity as a board member? Amanda.
First of all, I want to thank the staff and administration at Kennedy Junior High. That's one of my adopted schools. I got a chance to visit them during one of the professional development days, and they were running around doing a scavenger hunt around the school and looked like they were having a great time. I really appreciate them taking time for me in their busy day. I also want to just mention that at the next school board meeting, Christine and I will be in Washington, D.C. for the Consortium of State School Board Associations, aka COSBA, which is focusing on federal advocacy around issues impacting school education, and will be guided through the Illinois Association of School Boards, who will be coordinating many districts, not all of, but many districts that are able to send representatives throughout the state to talk to our different legislators around, and also have education and really focusing on what's actually happening in federal law right now and how that trickles down to our districts, and then being able to talk to our legislators specifically about how that impacts us. I appreciate Dan and the administration providing some feedback about what they're specifically seeing so we can talk more personally about those impacts. I was able to go last year, and it was a wonderful experience. I was able to be a spokesperson around SEL components, and I'm really glad to have Christine join me this year. This will be my last year going to the federal conference because we want to share that opportunity, but also have some experience. So I'm just really excited about it, but we'll miss the meeting, but happy to represent the district at this opportunity. Thank you.
Other Board of Education reports? Melissa.
I was happy to be excited. I was excited to be asked to attend the Maplebrook Popsicle Party. It was such a fun and meaningful way to start the school year. I really enjoyed being there, sharing popsicles, talking to families, and feeling the excitements of our students. I was able to meet the administration officials from that building, and I have to say they set a warm and welcoming tone, making sure everyone felt included. Their enthusiasm, along with the laughter of the students reconnecting with friends, created a wonderful sense of community. It was a joy to meet so many families, and I left the event proud of the strong connections that make Maplebrook such a special place to learn and grow. However, I'm going to add my off script. It was so hot, and those poor Maplebrook people have to look over at the open pool right there. I thought that's kind of cruel. So the other event that I was so happy to attend again this year was the Naperville Children's Business Fair. It's a fun event that highlights the creativity and innovation of young entrepreneurs through children-run booths filled with original ideas and products. This year's fair, and every year, is organized and operated entirely by Naperville 203 high school students. They not only manage the logistics, but they also serve as mentors, guiding younger participants in key areas. Develop business ideas. They're refining their concepts to ensure projects were both creative and practical. Practice presentations, coaching on communication, confidence, and explaining business models effectively. Build financial skills, teaching budgeting basics, pricing strategies, and sales tracking. They encourage problem solving, modeling resilience, and adapting to the challenge when challenges arose. I'm so proud of the leadership, initiative, and mentorship of our high school students demonstrated in creating such a meaningful experience for younger entrepreneurs in the community. And I do have to say as a shout out, you see the wonderful programs we have in our schools, especially for our high school students, that we can feed this back to our community and encourage even younger children. I'm just so proud.
Other Board of Education reports?
I bought some things and I told the kids that I would show my bracelets.
Oh, very nice.
They were really good stuff. You should go.
All right. Thank you. Any other Board of Education reports? Okay. Item 8.03, President's Report. The only two things I'll mention were I did have the opportunity to visit a couple schools on first day. One in particular, so I went to BB, Naperville North. No, some of my adopted schools, yeah, BB North, Maplebrook, and then Connections. I did want to specifically call out the phenomenal transformation that the Connection space has undergone recently, and I know that are we going to create an opportunity for our Board of Education to get the chance to tour that facility?
I believe they're looking in some form of a ribbon cutting or grand opening or something, and then we'll be sure the board has information about that.
Yeah, the
Ranch View also, I believe, right? Yep.
Yeah, the space it's just it. If you've had the opportunity to visit Connections before, you won't recognize the place. It's fantastic, and definitely something that we should, as 203, be proud that is part of our group of buildings. And then the other thing is, just as a reminder to my fellow Board of Education members, I recently sent an email on this. We're due to determine our second date for our self-evaluation. Sometime in October, I sent some dates out. And I have not heard back from everybody on that. So if you haven't responded to me or if your time frames have changed, please let me know. And that's it for my report. Item 8.04, Superintendent Staff School Report. All right. Item 9, discussion without action. Item 9.01, press update 118.
I'll make some general comments about items 9.01, 9.02, and 9.03 first, and then leave Dr. Cohen an opportunity to make some comments. But as a reminder for the board, we do subscribe to IASB's press service regarding the policy revisions and updates. We have two updates that need to be completed, update 118 and 119. So those are loaded in there with a cover memo from Dr. Cohen regarding recommendations from administration regarding those changes. Policy 2270 is a policy that has not been adopted by the board previously, that is required policy to be adopted by the Illinois Human Rights Act. Now, our Typical process has been 3 meetings when we have press updates. So this is we are giving them to you, and sometimes there's a lot there. So we did receive some questions from board members. Our process also has included taking those questions, creating a publicly posted document at the follow-up board meeting, so that you can just kind of read those as you have the time, and you have a little bit more time then to digest those and see what the questions are that you have. So we can discuss tonight whatever you need to discuss or clarifying questions, and that's fine. But we also go back and post those, and we can come back at the next 2 meetings. We'd be looking for action on these policies at the second meeting in September. So I will turn it over to Mark. We'll start with the press updates.
Not sure if you have any questions at this point, or given the hour, if you want to save those for a document, but I'd be happy to answer anything you have this off the top of your head.
Amanda?
Sorry, Mark. I do have some questions, but it won't be too long. So I'm looking at my question I had sent ahead. So I just want to make sure I really understand, right? Okay, so the updates in policies 2.26, 2.265, and 5.01 that reflect the federal government's most recent updates to Title IX, and eliminating language around gender identity. Obviously, I have some concerns around that. I know that and your answer was really great about letting us know how the state law still protects youth. I'm just curious if, because the federal government changes, are we mandated to comply with what they want us to put in there or remove? Technically remove, so.
Yeah, as the authors of Title IX, the federal government does have the ability to tweak in their regulations what is and what is not protected by that particular document. So we cannot add federal protections to that. The state of Illinois does still offer those same protections, however.
Okay.
Holly?
So I have similar concerns. I think I'm just going to flag ahead of time that as we review this and see your answers, be seeking kind of clarity in how we can be really clear about Illinois protections and how that might be worded. But plenty of time to dig into all of the changes in here. But especially with one of the public comments today, I wanted to flag that I will have questions. This did include one on student fundraising, some data privacy, and I'm really interested in the AI information as well. So in the future, when we go forward, I might have questions on those, so just flagging that.
Other questions from the board? Okay. And so these items, Superintendent Bridges, you said these items will come back in the second meeting for action. So they'll be on
the
without action?
the next meeting without action.
Okay.
On September 8th, and then at the, the 15th, 22nd for action.
Okay.
And again, with policies, have been times, especially when we have a lot, where the board says we need a little bit more time still on this one or that one. So we really do need to try to get the Press 118 update in by the end of September, but we have a little bit more time on 119.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can you remind me why we had the September deadline? You might have said it, but I apologize if I didn't hear it again.
Just the amount of time required by IASB in order to update the policy manual, and the longer we take, there's like an administrative fee that we'd have to pay.
Okay, and so that one specifically for 118. Okay, thank you for clarifying.
So I'm hearing prioritize 118, given that, okay. Yeah. Okay. Holly, then Amanda. I'm sorry, Holly,
this is just
then
kind of
Melissa.
a procedural one really quickly. Amanda and Christine, are you able to phone in, or are you going to be completely unavailable at the next meeting? I just wanted to ensure we could have your questions.
We'll be unavailable.
Okay.
We can send questions in advance, but we have a meeting with IASB that evening right during our meeting, and it doesn't allow us to do both. So I looked at the agenda to see if we could. I apologize, no.
Okay. Thank you. Good clarification. Melissa, you had a question.
I just had a strange question because I was looking at all this over the weekend, and you mentioned that to enter it, I was looking and they had the actual instructions on how to make the changes on your policies. I'll relook at that. I just wondered if I didn't know if our admin went in and switched it or not, or maybe they're referring to, oh, I know what they're referring to. I'm sorry. We use press, but we keep we don't keep with press, do we, the policies, our policies.
We use, okay, so can you just clarify who they are?
Okay, yeah, I'm not using
Who's they?
Thank you. The best. Thank you, Amanda. So let me get this straight. Because this is what I do. When I look up and I want to see their recommended or what the IASB does, you can get that off of the IASB site, and that's part of the Press Plus services. And then, so they have a sample manual, and then they have, but I think I read that they have a new service where they'll keep our school district on there, but I think that we keep ours on board docs, right? That's where we host our policies. So I think that they're two different services. We use board docs, and then they are now offering. So I think I answered my own question. So you're confused, look, I think.
No, I think I'm confused because I think we use Press Plus, their templates, and like making sure they're updated with the new laws and stuff, and then incorporating to our board docs once we approve it.
Yeah.
And then update our board policies. That's then on.
But no, it's just that they have their actual own manual in there, and now.
Right, which is general for the whole state, right?
Yeah, that's their recommendations, but they just now added a service where they'll host ours. So I think that's what I got confused about. So I just made it a lot more confusing than it needed to be. So sorry. So I think we're at the end here, right?
Did we cover everything? Okay. All right. So again, those items will come back. Okay. Item 10, discussion with action. We have no discussion with action. Item 11, no old business. We have no old business. Item 12, new business. No new business. Item 13, upcoming events. Item 13.01, schedule of events.
Board meeting calendar is modified due to the way the schedule fell. Our next board meeting is on September 8th at 2025, the second Monday, not the first.
Okay. Please make sure you make note of that and don't show up here on next week, 2 weeks from now. Okay. Item number 14, adjournment. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
You don't want to do it?
So moved.
Second.
I can't make that. You know, that's my thing. I wish I did. But
Now it's my thing.
yeah. There you go.
It's a motion.
Did you just do it?
I
We have
did.
Motion, and do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second have been heard. Please call the roll, Mrs. Patton.
McMillan,
Aye.
Lastic,
Aye.
Gerke,
Aye.
Walensky,
Aye.
Kelly Black,
Aye.
Kush,
Aye.
Kosminski.
Aye.
The motion passes. We are adjourned. Drive home safely.